unfortunately having a bit of an off week, as in the last 30 minutes or so, Felicia's stomach has decided to stage a nauseating "Make America Great Again" rally, and things are going down. So she is not feeling good, and she is specifically also just not feeling good enough to game. Uh, and most of what we had planned for this episode, more than most episodes, was going to be very Raina centric, because it was going to be social play with some NPCs that are largely here for Raina to socialize with. And then it was going to be the family politicking a bit with some influential people during the hunt. And the heir should also be there for that. So we kind of got caught with our pants down, as it were. And we think that instead of half-assing an episode of Sea of Spears, and also our alternate scene, if we were down Erika or Robert, for instance, also is Felicia centric. So it's like, well, poop. Lots of our backup shoots are failing to open. For the first time in a while, several bits of the episode would have hinged on Raina. So we don't want to half-ass that. So what we're going to do instead is a very special holiday episode, which will be Erika getting a holiday gift live on stream from Felicia and I. Ash already got a gift. Robert already got a gift. It's not that Ash and Robert didn't get things. They actually got theirs before Erika. So, like, technically, theirs being on time means that they were better. But Erika's, we wanted to wait and do on stream. So, Erika's going to do that. We're just going to chat a little bit about our holidays or whatnot. And then we're going to give you guys a little taste of Cyberpunk Red. We're not planning to stream this game, but several of us are playing in a Cyberpunk Red game because for some reason lots of us have Cyberpunk on the brain right now. So we figured we might as well just stay on the call, and people that want to can hear some Cyberpunk Red kind of secondhand stuff. So that is where we are today. Sorry for this last minute change of plans, but I'm also sorry that I had to bring my wife a bowl to throw up in. So lots of us are not having the Sunday afternoon we would like. So she's just not feeling good, and it's kind of out of nowhere. We're not sure what's up because we ate all the same stuff lately, and I feel fine. So, yeah, we're not really sure what's going on. We're pretty sure she's not pregnant, though. It's not morning sickness, despite what it would be were this any TV show ever. Anytime a woman is nauseous, it's morning sickness. Um, but yeah, no, she's just not feeling good. So it sucks, but we are gonna wing it and still get you guys some content today if you want to hang out with us. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at. We are improvising, we are adapting, and we are overcoming. Um, Erika, you've got the screen set up for um, your gift.
Yeah.
You want to transfer to that,
Yeah, let's go ahead
and
and
I will
do
do
that.
this real quick. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Everyone, make sure you got your sound on.
Yep.
Greetings, Lady Baela, Nymarian of Wyvern's Rest. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. My name very often is pronounced incorrectly. This is Kevin Lannister, if you didn't recognize me. Kevan spelled Kevan, but a lot of people call me Kevin. Not too keen on that, but it makes life difficult when the spelling isn't obvious. Anyway, I only digress by hoping that you are Lady Baela, not Lady Baela or Lady Baela. Whatever it is, I offer you my respect and my greetings. And I've been asked by Lord Maikar, again, not sure of the pronunciation, he will know who I mean. He is the warden of the Stoneway, and he has asked me to talk to you, to congratulate you, to advise you. As a second born, because we both are. I gather you are the younger twin. I am not a twin, but I am the younger brother of Tywin Lannister. And it's a position that is sometimes difficult, but also incredibly powerful. You are, if you like, the power behind the throne. You can influence, you can advise, you can guide, and as a result, you can be incredibly powerful without having to take the final responsibility. I'm not saying you don't take responsibility. You must take responsibility, but ultimately you don't make the final decision, but you can influence it. I think it's a good position to be the second child. Not always the most glamorous. People don't always want to be in your company. They always want your elder siblings' company. But if you're clever, if you're careful, it can be an amazingly rewarding position. Anyway, having said that, I gather already I should congratulate you because you have already used your position incredibly well. You've led a victorious army. That is an incredible achievement. I never totally led a victorious army. I was always there. I was very influential. I was very instrumental in the success of our adventures. But I never actually led a victorious army, so congratulations. And you beat Sir Meryn Trant, that rogue. You beat him in a tourney. Well, I admire you for that. And even more importantly, I congratulate you on your betrothal to Sir Balon. There's an alliance of families. There's a powerful alliance. And that's so important. If you don't always want to be going to war, it's very important to have an alliance with other powerful families. You're going to be unbeatable. Congratulations. I have little else to offer you. I think you're doing very, very well, incredibly well. And I just urge you to follow some of my earlier advice if you are not already. Be proud of who you are. I'm proud of who I am. Kevin Lannister, House Lannister of Castle Rock. Hear me roar!
Oh,
That was so
great.
cool.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That
So
was great.
there you go. Happy holidays.
That was really cool.
I thought it would be neat. I discovered Cameo.com, and I got 3 holiday gifts out of it this year. I initially was shopping at Cameo for Erika because the actor that plays Sir Meryn Trant is on there. And I was this close to just going like, listen, can you just rant about that cunt Baela Nymerian for like 2 minutes? And I was this close. And I was like, no, like I want it to be like fun to watch, funny, right? So I went looking for other options. And I was like, yeah, like Kevin, like second board, let's do that. So yeah, that was really fun, I thought. So I'm glad that you liked it. It certainly seemed like you were enjoying it.
That was great.
Yeah. So
That's so sweet.
it was a good time. And like, there's a ton of Game of Thrones actors on there.
I only got like a little look through.
Right.
Yeah, that's all. I'm like, I just want to buy these for myself now.
Like,
I just want to get them to talk to me.
I'm thinking about maybe getting one from James Cosmo that I can cut into snippets as like a stinger for when people like or subscribe. like having the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch be like, and now your watch begins, right?
Oh, that's
like wouldn't that be like, you know, welcome to play the game, boy, right? Or some shit like that. Like, so yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them on there. There's some that are kind of interesting cast members. Like one lady I went looking, and she's like, Dothraki woman getting fucked at wedding. Like that's her big role. It's like you could get a cameo from her. I'm like, what kind of cameo? Are we talking like an only cameos type of situation? Like, was there special? You know, so some of them are interesting. You know, the actors and the actresses. Like I kind of remember that guy. You know, but some of them are some pretty big names, and I could have very easily spent a couple $1,000 on Cameo this year. Like once I found it, it became very dangerous.
Yeah, I think like there's some people, not necessarily like Game of Thrones related, but there's a few that I was like, that's doable. That's
right. So
I have
it
that
was
much
fun.
spare cash in a month usually.
Yeah, so it was fun, and I thought that would be pretty neat.
No, they have the Wu-Tang Clan. That's a lot of
Right.
members for one pass.
Like the whole. So yeah, I thought that would be neat. So happy holidays, Erika.
Thank you.
That's
It was very cool.
Speaking of holidays, my parents just left some gifts at my door, and I want to grab them so they can
go
come
do that.
inside. So let me. I'll be right back in like 1 minute.
Sure.
Yeah, Robert Picardo.
like, what was yours?
Gotta do.
I'm curious now. Robert, what did Rusty give you?
Oh, he gave me a shit ton of those PDFs,
Yeah, he got a bunch of cyberpunk stuff.
which is what I really needed, and was exactly in my budget, $0.
Which was
Okay. Oh no, I thought you meant that he got a cameo as well.
no, just a gift. Not all of my gifts were cameos this year. Just several.
Can I talk?
yeah.
Can I just like say a few words about mine? Because
Of course.
it was pretty rad. Because Rusty got Uncle Iroh to give me a happy Hanukkah message with lots of lovely encouragement that was genuinely.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, it was so sweet. And yes, I was inducted into the Order of the White Lotus, and yeah, it was. I've watched it so many times since then because it's just instant like feeling goodness.
Right. And like I told him what to say, and like I was still tearing up watching it because it's Uncle Iroh, and it's just like damn it, now I need to buy my own pep talk from Uncle Iroh. Like everybody
Right?
should have this, and it should be like their alarm that they wake up to first thing in the morning. Should be Uncle Iroh. Like, yeah. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend Pep Talk from Uncle Iroh. It was so lovely.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that it the impact matched the intent. So I'm glad that it landed like I wanted. There's lots of Game of Thrones ones that I was bandying about for the game. The best in-character one that I could find that I had planned for Adam was actually going to be Janos Slint sucking up to you. Like, I understand that you've recently come into some coin, my lord. Please, let me know anytime you're in King's Landing, and the Gold Cloaks and I will personally see to your security. And what's this about betrothals? Right? Like that was the best one I could think of. Would be that, and then like I said, I was gonna get Sir Meryn Trant to just cuss out Baela. The other one I thought of, the actress that played Marcella could have thanked Adam for her little horse.
Oh,
Like I thought that would have been cool. Who else? Was I considering?
They've actually interacted in game.
Yeah. Mace Tyrell could have stammered and stuttered his way through congratulating Rhaena. Like that could have been neat. So yeah, there was a handful that I had the thought for, that could have been kind of fun in
Yeah, that was
character ones, but yeah, like it's an addictive little site. Like it's really
yeah.
easy to go like, well, this one's only $50. Like I got $50. That's just like ordering takeout for dinner a couple times. I could do that. Like I'll just I'll have mac and cheese this week, and then I'll have you know the first sort of Bravos tell me how good my footwork is. Like like yeah,
Oh,
I could do that.
so
That's worth it. So yeah, like it was a fun little site that uh, I'm glad. And I just stumbled across it. Somebody on Facebook mentioned it. And I was like, what's Cameo.com? Oh my God, there goes all my money. Like,
yeah, I had the same feeling kind of like once I'd watched my video the first time, and once I started kind of looking through, like I could
yep.
see myself spending a lot of money on pet talks from various
right?
actors.
And they've got a bunch of Overwatch voice actors in there. I almost got you a hello from, fuck, now I don't remember which one it was. Who's your main, Erika? I'm completely
Diva?
blanking on her. I think she was in here.
I don't play
I just-
Overwatch too much
Okay.
personally.
Sorry,
I just remembered that there was an Overwatch character that you and I had discussed once, and I guess it was Diva. But yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff on there. So I thought that would be neat.
They've got.
I thought
Yeah.
the in character one would be pretty fun. So I'm glad you liked Erika.
It was good. It was very
yeah.
good.
Good. So
Okay.
those were actually like the biggest holiday things that I did this year was like you guys and my friend Osi. And then I got one more holiday gift for somebody that I'm proud of. My friend Dave has a 6-year-old who is super adorable. Isley is the cutest, smartest kid I've ever met. And she's being raised strong in the geeky ways. And they were getting ready to introduce her to Star Wars like this year. She's been on a big superhero kick lately, which is also awesome. But they were like, we're doing Star Wars soon. And then, not that long ago, Dave went on a big rant about how he hates the Darksaber. Like, he just doesn't like that it exists in Star Wars. He was like, that whole arc just like soured me on Star Wars Rebels. And I know that you say that they did good stuff about it in the Clone Wars, but knowing that it's there makes me not even want to watch the Clone Wars. Like, he just really does not like the Darksaber. And then I got a random ad on Facebook from Walmart for a light up sound making replica Darksaber that was actually really affordably priced. So then I bought Dave a Darksaber and I bought Isley a little 2 lightsaber set. And I'm like, now Dave has to play with the Darksaber because there's no way he can tell his little girl, no, sweetie, daddy doesn't want a lightsaber fight with you. So I trapped him. So I gave in to the dark side. And I'm like, this is totally worth like the $50 that it cost, just to know that Dave has to play with a Darksaber. Like every now and then I just get an XP dings over my head, and I'm like, oh, Dave and Isley are playing with the Darksaber. So that was fun to pick out. But like Felicia and I like legitimately did like nothing. We discussed like, babe, I'm gonna upgrade my computer, and that's gonna be my Christmas money, okay? And she's like, yeah. Hey, I've been wanting a new TV. So she went and bought a brand new TV that's bigger and betterer. And she got new desks. And so she's taken over what had been an extra room. Nominally, it was our workout room, but we only rarely used it because, in case you can't tell. But yeah, so that's her office now. So she has that little space carved out. And her old desk, we're going to use for painting miniatures together. So like it's still gift stuff, for both of us. But it was never a, hey, sweetie, let me surprise you with the thing, because we just kind of weren't feeling it this year, and like we knew that we spent enough on other stuff. So yeah, like you lot were 60% of my my holiday gift giving this year. So I'm
Aw.
really glad that you guys liked them, and I can send you that link, Erica, and you can save the video, share the video, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Because that's the other cool thing about it. I thought was that it's not some sort of like one and done, Shadowrun BTL chip type of thing. You
This
can,
visual self-destruct.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
Mission
it doesn't
Impossible. Yeah.
it doesn't disintegrate after one watch. Um, so they can get shared on social, because like they'd be dumb if they did make them only playable a handful of times. Like they want people to share them on social media so that more people buy them, right? Um, but yeah, what I liked was how easy it is to actually just like download and keep the video. So yeah, happy holidays, everybody. I hope that you, dear viewers, have also had a good holiday season so far. I know it's not over. There are plenty to go. But if Christmas was your thing, I hope you had a good day a couple days ago. If Hanukkah's your thing, I hope you had a good time a couple weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it ended a week ago, right?
ended on the 18th. Yeah, it was the
Yeah,
10th to the
so
18th.
about a week
So-
ago.
I spent the whole thing playing Cyberpunk 2077 and eating too many donuts. It was
There
great.
you go. Happy Hanukkah.
In the traditional way.
Yes, exactly. And I had leftover Chinese for breakfast on the 25th, as is the way of my
Nice.
people.
Oh, I thought that was a tradition. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's in the Torah somewhere. You have to feast with the wise men from the east.
It's a-
Every Christmas.
The Midrash says it need not be reheated, but he who
Yeah.
reheats is to be most praised.
There.
As always, we have found wisdom in the old rabbi sayings.
It's the if I remember correctly, in the original translations in Hebrew of the Bible, as that three wise men came from the distant east with gifts of gold, frankincense, and General Tso's chicken. I think is what the original translation is. So
Yeah, I will say not all scholars agree with that translation, but it is popular.
I heard it. I heard it on the internet somewhere.
And
Um,
loaded did speak along, motherfuckers.
There's only been one over, but it's still controversial.
Yeah. So yeah, hope everybody had a good and safe holiday season so far, and I hope you continue to do so. And with that, we're actually going to transition to a whole ass different game. For those that might have showed up a few minutes late, Felicia's not here because she's just not feeling good. She was quote unquote not feeling good earlier today, and then at about T-minus 12 minutes, she was actively feeling bad. So a lot of what we had planned for today's episode, and the backup scene, that's kind of the next thing up at bat that we had planned, were very Reina-centric for the first time in a while. So we don't want to half-ass those scenes, and we also don't want to do like half an episode of Sea of Spears that just feels weird and off, and do we even make a video of this, and you know what I mean. So what we're going to do instead is talk about our holidays and give Erika her gift on stream, because it's a Game of Thrones thing, for about a half hour, which for the record I think I timed just about right, like, because I'm like, damn. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to stream some Cyberpunk Red character generation, because several of us are playing in a Cyberpunk Red game soon, without plans to stream the game, but we figured we could stream some character generation, because right here on Play the Game several weeks ago, I was able to do some pre-release Cyberpunk Red character generation streams. So we've established a precedent, and we thought it might be cool to kind of do a follow-up, as a couple of us are making characters to actually play, that we would mess around and do some Cyberpunk Red. All four of us that are presently here are also at least waist deep in Cyberpunk 2077. So we're in that Night City frame of mind and all that stuff. We're jonesing for it. And we figure we might as well just kind of let that fun out on stream. So, yeah. So there we go. That's what we will be doing. We are going to be discussing a couple of house rules that are fairly minor ones. But like there's one that jumped out at me that you might remember from those episodes where at one point during character generation it's 1d10 minus 7, minimum 0, right? And it's like, this is dumb. Let's just
Or is
make
that
it 1d3.
Is that the romantic entanglements?
Well, it's your friends and your enemies and your romantic entanglements. So
Okay.
70% of starting characters don't have any friends, or have never been in love, or have not pissed anyone off. And it's just
Yeah,
like, come on, like.
Yeah, so are we going with like minimum 1? then?
Yeah, I think what we're doing is just a D3 instead. So like, everybody brings a plot hook for the GM,
Yes.
right? Because like that's what those are for. Like, and you know, there's small stuff like that that we've discussed. A couple things that are different from 2020 to Red, and it'll be coming up. But I'm largely going to hand the reins to Erika because Erika is GMing this game. Ash, is that a question for me or just a?
Well,
Okay.
I guess either of you can answer it because I have never done any Cyberpunk character gen before. Well, no, I tell a lie. I did some like Cyberpunk character generation like 15 years ago. So it's basically irrelevant, even if I could remember it. So I need to know what page I need to be on in the core book to start, and how many of what dice do I need.
The technical beginning of character generation would be page 29.
Okay.
That's where they start describing the roles. Some of the roles are going to be familiar to you, even just from 2077. Even if you don't remember from 2020, it's a lot of the same terms.
Yeah, I only remember a tiny smidgen, but like some of the roles and stuff are familiar to me. And
Yeah. So they go over the roles there. So that's technically the start. The first part that you're rolling dice and technically doing the thing is 44. And you're going to need some, I think it's only D10. No, I think there's a couple D6s in the later life paths. Yeah, like a D10 or two and a couple D6s, and that's about it.
Okay. I will get to arranging that.
So yeah, and with that, am I done stalling? So Erika has time to finish making the PDF view thing.
Yes.
Because I was trying to stretch it out there a little bit.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, so we had been tossing this idea around for a little bit about creating a Cyberpunk Red game, and I finally that itch kind of scratched me enough where I'm like, okay, let's say theoretically if we were gonna do this, what sort of character would you? And this is me talking to Rusty, and he starts describing a character, and I'm like, okay, well, this is no longer something that I think I can resist. I have failed that will check. And so now we're going to move into what are we actually going to do? And so Rusty has a fairly concrete idea of a character in his mind. And I know Robert has a couple ideas he was contemplating the last time we chatted. And I think Ash had sort of either didn't tell me if he had been thinking about anything, or we didn't get to that point in our conversations yet. I think
I was very much holding off to see what the other two were doing, so that I wouldn't make something that was going to tread on any toes. Though I think the only thing I've really kind of sort of expressed a specific interest in was when like both Rusty and Robert mentioned wanting to be at least Rocker Boy adjacent, and there was someone floated the notion of us all being in a band, and I liked that idea. But I think that's the only thing I've kind of gone, oh, that would be cool. Not a deal breaker, of course, but yeah, like concept-wise, I'm kind of blank at the moment. Usually it kind of comes out as I'm doing character gen.
Okay, so there are a number of different sort of group types that this game allows you to be. The classic one that you might think of is being a mercenary, where you're just a group of people loosely kind of maybe friends with each other or hired together to perform jobs. Um, and this can range from a lot of different things, like breaking into facilities to steal items, maybe stealing cars or data, or getting people out of their corporate life. Or if you think of it, you can do it. So if you're familiar with Shadowrun, this is pretty much just like Shadowrun, and in this game they call them edge runners instead of Shadowrunners. Uh, Other concepts involve being a band, um, in which case you might have a couple rocker boy types, but you might also have a few others. Like if you want to have someone who provides security for the group, they can be a solo. A manager could be an exec or a fixer type.
Yeah, techies,
Techies as well. Yeah, so there's
nomads for roadies. Yeah.
so there's ways to fit in all the different roles, as they call them, in here. And there's lots of other group types as well. And you can play as members of a gang. You can be a media company that's trying to uncover hidden truths, sort of detective like, and exposing dark deeds to inform the public about them. Uh, you can play an exec campaign if you're interested in the corpo life, which would be kind of not super cyberpunk, but maybe you could navigate it in a way that feels right.
We're a troubleshooting non-profit. We just created an LLC for our edge running activities.
I feel pretty anti-corporate now. That's all I'm
Yeah. One thing I did want to float, because we were thinking about Rocker Boy or Rocker Boy adjacent, in Chromebook 1, which is a 2020 gear book, they have a bunch of lifestyle alternatives. Because it's gear, right? Your lifestyle, your housing is equipment technically, and there's one that I just always thought would be neat, and it's very similar to that kind of band idea. It's on page 86. If anybody wants to open up Chromebook 1, they were called Silverhand Studios. At one point, Johnny Silverhand just spends several $1 million buying up buildings and converting them into studio apartments to try and be a patron to creatives. So what you end up with is this generic formula of a bunch of creative people living in loft apartments, and they've got an on-site landlord that tends to be either a solo or a fixer. And for living there, you sometimes get free XP for just hanging out with other creatives, and people describe their art or performance skill or whatever. And then, like, the landlord gets you supplies for your stuff at a discount. And also, sometimes you got to do jobs to pay your rent. And also, you're in this Melrose Place of cyberpunk artists. So who knows if one of the neighbors is going to have a problem, or so like it always struck me as what would be kind of a fun hook for a game would be like this kind of okay, there's a rocker boy, but then there's a media, like they went to journalist school, right? Or here's a solo that also just picked up painting for, right? Or whatever. Or somebody could be the ones that work and help run the apartment. But that always looked like a neat, if we have no idea how people know each other, maybe you all met by living at a Silverhand Studios. Always thought that would be a neat hook. So
a little warm with the idea. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I like that idea. And
Also,
if anything, kind of starting out, it gives us a sort of almost like a safe house, I guess, kind of.
yeah, I mean a little bit.
Or
You know what I mean? But like a place that we have a reason to congregate in.
Yeah. Now that said, it would be a bit of a change from the default starting housing in Cyberpunk Red, where you start with by default you start with a cargo container with like a mattress and stuff in it. But here's the thing: maybe this little bit more nihilistic version of Johnny Silverhand that's recently hit the media, like maybe the Silverhand Studios are 6 packs of cargo containers stacked on top of each other, like 2 rows of 3.
I get my own container, right?
Right, but like maybe it's groups of those, um, you know, but then Johnny owns the parking lot that they're in, or whatever. So like that's why it still works for rent, and people just spray paint nearby buildings or hold impromptu concerts out on the street instead. So like I think you could still grub it up a little, right? You could still tone it down, because Cyberpunk Red is a little bit of a post-apocalypse setting. It's got that on top of Cyberpunk, so.
And it's not even that far off of things that we already know, like the people running Airbnbs out of a shed in their back garden kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not like, and I mean, I think it's Singapore where there's basically hotels you stay in that are essentially like small shipping containers all stacked together, and you can lie down in it, and that's about it.
Yeah, we call those coffin. We call them coffin hotels in Shadowrun. Remember, kids, if you ever need to get a coffin hotel in Shadowrun, get the troll-sized one. It's a pretty small discount, but it gives you a lot more room. Ding. There's your Shadowrun
advice and tips.
There's your Shadowrun tip of the day. Is get the troll-sized coffin motel. That's
the bonus content you get when we do Cyberpunk. You get the occasional.
How much is Shadowrun going to bleed into this?
Or vice versa.
In this game, they're called like cube hotels or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And they're actually pretty neat. Like I've seen them on some travel shows and cooking shows that travel, which I'm not sure how big the difference is there, but like the ones that they've shown at least on camera look very sleek and cyberpunky, so they're neat.
Now add 30 years of no maintenance and
exactly. So
I have a few ideas. It sounds like Rusty's got some pretty good ideas. Ash, what is it you are interested in?
I've got very little idea. I liked I liked the idea of the theme of being at least Rocker Boy adjacent, but I don't know if I want to like go for that as a specific role. I don't know. I'm kind of lost, and I was basically going to sort of see what niche presented itself kind of once you two had some stuff nailed down more.
Mine,
all of you know what you're doing way more than I do.
That's an illusion.
My guy works as a couple different roles, which potentially, if we play long enough to get improvement points, I might branch out to secondary roles. But the character idea that I had that's pretty distinct to Cyberpunk Red, because this is a setting it's 20-something years after the nuke blows up downtown Night City, and Johnny Silverhand is like reviled as an anti-corp terrorist, even by some people on the streets, because so many people die when a nuke goes off downtown, right? And like so it's a weird subculture where sometimes he's still seen as kind of a hero rebel, but often not, and whatever. And then there's the scene that reminds you that there are groupies in Cyberpunk 2077. And I was like, what if the character's mom was a samurai groupie, and like she raises her kid telling him that he's Johnny Silverhand's illegitimate child? So So that's his whole thing. He's raised on the streets by a lady that half-assedly turns her life around when Johnny Silverhand says, "You're wasting your lives following us like dogs." So then I'm like, all right, so like she goes to do something else, which could be almost anything. Like maybe she just becomes an edge runner, right? Like that's still not groupie. Um, but yeah, so I just want this kind of likable, all around edge runner kid, right? That has a social focus, but is all about like the flash and the street style, and really embracing the cyberpunk swagger. And I want him to be decent at guitar, but probably not actually starting out as a rocker boy. So I'm thinking he's a jack of all trades edge runner. He's just been raised on the streets, knows a lot of people. I think that by default, like he works pretty well as a fixer, because the fixer's job is to know lots of people. And as a starting character fixer that's not terribly dedicated to just fixing, it's more just he knows a bunch of people. He's popular in a couple neighborhoods. He happens to know a guy, right? But he won't be like that ruthless, "You are all my puppets" fixer, right? He's going to be a hands-on fixer. The other thought would be, I actually think that this would work as a flashy urban nomad in like the Fast and Furious style, right? Because if you look at mechanically, what the nomad skill moto does is just you're good at driving and you've got a car, right? Like so, I
Right.
feel like that could totally still work for like a flashy street racer type, and that you've still nominally got a nomad pack, but it's your street racing buddies,
All
right?
right. I have
So
collapsed the wave function of my ideas into a single idea now. Thank you for talking about it a lot.
um,
It's crystallized some stuff for me as
Yeah,
well.
I'm going full
All right.
rocker boy.
I'm
I'm
going.
doing.
All right, I'm gonna pause for a moment to address a question
Alrighty.
we had a few minutes ago in the chat, was about whether or not you can be multiple roles, and the answer is during character generation you have to pick one and you're gonna go with that, but you can customize your skills to kind of flavor yourself in a lot of different ways. And then after you create your character, you can spend your experience to buy up the unique skills from the other roles. So initially, no, you can't do like the old school D&D where you do the dual class. You can't do that, but you can do the more modern D&D where you can like be multiple different ones just by by buying up the skills in those unique
and
roles.
that's very different from 2020. In Cyberpunk 2020, you had a starting skill list that was very strictly defined by your role, and it was difficult, if not impossible, to change. I think there was a splat book that set a precedent for how you can change your role, and I want to say it was one of the last books they published. It was in like the Adventure trilogy. So it was just assumed that like no, like this is what you are. In this version, depending on the version of character generation you use, it might be that literally the only thing that defines you as your role is this one role ability, their special skill. Because if you play the freestyle version where you get to pick all your own skills and attributes and gear, you could totally build yourself, somebody that looks like a nomad, and you could probably even roll on like the nomad specific life path, but you could be playing a techie instead, and you go like, no, I'm the mechanic for my nomads, or right. So I really like that flexibility, and that's basically what I'm playing with this guy. Is I mean, he works. If somebody really wanted to be a fixer, I can be a nomad. If somebody really wanted to be a nomad, I can be a fixer. And then like either way, he's still going to be decent in a fight. Um, and then in theory, building towards Rocker Boy. So like it's covering a lot of bases in a very old school bard sort of way. But I I thought that it would be a pretty consistent personality that allowed a lot of room for other people to, if they're locked in on a role, to not take a role from anybody.
Yeah.
So, because that flexibility in this edition is dope. It's very good. I quite like.
All right. Yeah.
So,
That helped me a lot.
what's your idea?
So, Robert, you said you were going to collapse your waveform and choose Rocker Boy.
I'm going Rocker Boy, and I'm going to steal this art for the Rocker Boy or girl in the book, and I am going to have a tattoo that says Johnny did nothing wrong.
Love it.
And maybe with a little splash of like a media personality kind of tossed in. But it's still the idea from a Shadowrun character of mine to have some like camera drones around whenever I show up to places.
Sure.
And gonna just fucking rock the system so hard it realizes Johnny did nothing wrong.
It reminds me of just your phrasing just reminds me of the subreddit Feanor did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's some influence of that, but a little more positive.
I love that. I like that. That's a great idea. I love it. I think I'm leaning towards a solo. Because it sounds like you two are going to get yourselves beaten up a lot.
Well, I'd like to shoot good, but yeah.
Well, and the cool thing is, like, if you legitimately don't have a character idea in this setting, or I mean, in this character generation, you could just run your life path first, right, and then see what jumps out at you along the way.
I'm life path anyway, but like I think like back 15 years ago when I did some Cyberpunk 2020 character gen, I wanted to be a solo, but someone else was doing it and I wasn't allowed. So
Gotcha.
I think I need to fulfill that dream.
Absolutely. Then.
I think also just like I tend to like when I'm in a lot of video games, I tend to tank, so it probably suits my playstyle. Also just as like a counterpoint to my current role-playing characters who are very much lovers rather than fighters.
little soft boys.
Little soft boys.
No, Captain Cortez is not a soft boy, but he's definitely
Captain Cortez is not a soft boy, but he's not the. I don't know. He's not a bellicose captain, but he's also not going to get pushed around.
No, like much prefers to solve problems peacefully. Whereas I think I like the idea of being more. I've been watching a lot of The Expanse recently, so maybe something vaguely Amos aligned of
little
problem by hitting someone.
Nice. Have you? I know that you initially had like the quick start stuff. Have you seen the solo combat sense in this edition?
I've brought the stuff up, but like literally you sending me the PDF is the first I've laid eyes on it. So
I wasn't sure if it was in the starter box, but
was,
I really like it because it used to just be a flat bonus to perception and initiative, and it was just like a passive thing. In this edition, you get to actually do stuff with it. So like that tank that you want to do, that can totally be like where you invest these points round to round. So like I like that it adds to being an all-around combatant in a really cool way in this edition.
Cool.
So I think that works.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of like in terms of background, I'm torn between Street and X Corp, possibly.
Well, I'm gonna go hardcore Street. Robert doesn't necessarily have to be hardcore Street. Like he could be some Arasaka kid that just
that's the ultimate rebellion.
Right?
There's nothing wrong. You're fucking dying in this one.
Yeah, right?
Take me away from this, Ma.
So, like,
I love that so much that maybe this secret background my character.
So, yeah.
Stop on the fucking streets.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. So, so all right, let's I'm gonna go fixer on this.
Cool.
to kind of cover that. Well, shit. But then Nomad, I could be the then the party could have a driver, because otherwise it's really difficult to have a driver. I'm gonna wait and see. We'll just
Do you
see.
have to, like, is being able to drive like tied to certain roles? I would assume we could all drive.
It's very expensive to have.
Yeah,
a
so
vehicle.
no one starts with a
Uh,
car.
so
And
the no, like, so
cars
well,
are pricey.
The motor pool is pretty cool. Yeah, that
yeah,
ability.
like the executive kind of can if they choose a driver as their NPC at start, and otherwise that's it. It's just like no, you're walking places.
Wow. Can we chip in to have a bus?
Like
A really shitty Winnebago type thing.
so I don't know. I'll make that call later, because I still, like I said, I've got a solid like mental image of the character and of like what they do and who they are. But as it is, like, it's legitimately like a multi-classed rocker boy fixer nomad. Just 'cause it's like, yeah, a little bit of everything.
So well, I don't entirely know what would bring Ash's character there. The Silverhand Studios does make a lot of sense for our characters to be in the same area.
Yeah, and Ash could be the, like the security hired there, or what if Ash has a friend on either input or output. I don't want to assume Ash character's sexual orientation, but like maybe one of Ash's friends is a creative type, and Ash is just staying at the Silverhand Studio. If nothing else jumps out, like, you could just be crashing at the Silverhand Studios and get along with other people living there. So it's easy to toss someone in, I think.
Sure. Like I could kind of go either way on that. I'm thinking that maybe some life path stuff will firm up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
is that the next step? We start rolling up?
yeah, that is the very next step. We're gonna go through life path, and I figure we'll kind of like do this a step at a time for all of us.
Sure.
Going
I guess
through.
also, I mean, depending on if Rusty's character's mother's still working, like could have worked with or for his mum.
Yeah. Depending again, like, because I'm picturing like she could have done almost anything, right? From the moment that like a rocker boy's like, stop wasting your life. Like, maybe she got her GED, maybe she just waited tables for 20 years, right? Maybe she
Join the Nomad Clan and
yeah,
whatever you do.
like whatever sounds good. Like, I'm still totally gonna roll probably, for this, like, where you're from, and like see if it makes sense, because that's the other cool thing that I want to rave about here, is that literally at the start of life path they point out, choose something if you want to. If you want to roll, that's fine. If you roll and don't get something you like, just roll again or pick something. So like, these are basically just lists to inspire you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're absolutely not like locked in on it. So yeah, we'll just kind of see what happens.
Yep. So for the people watching at home, the very first step is to figure out what sort of ethnicity, where in the world you're from. It also influences what starting language you might know.
And what page is that on?
45.
45.
You guys want to go around the table and do it one at a time?
I guess, I mean, I guess, what does it apply to? How much does it matter? I mean, I'm presuming, like, is there a specific place we start out?
It doesn't matter. So we're going to be in Night City. So it's probably a lot more likely you're from North America.
Okay.
So the
But
1d10 it doesn't really gauge the probabilities very well.
It's more, well, it's also more of an ethnic, what's your
cultural background.
Yes.
But by the way, if I could rave about this book for one moment, the life path example on the side shows a character, a player, Victoria, rolling and getting sub-Saharan Africa, and her actual ancestry being from there, and picking a language that's not on the list, and it shows which rule allows that. And that's a really cool thing to add into your example. Is okay. Well, if it's not on the list, this is what you do, and it's
do whatever.
super cool.
I'm hoping that it'll focus on it. I don't think it's going to.
I think you need
But I'm
to
using
come back a bit.
CYBERPUNK 2020 dice
There you go.
That's very cool.
that I got
Cool.
at Gen Con a couple years ago. They were giving them away when you got the Witcher RPG, because there's also Witcher dice, and they're very, very similar. They're just techie instead of.
I wish I'd gotten that with my Witcher book.
Yeah, well, someday we're gonna. Someday we'll get you at a Gen Con or an Origins.
Someday.
Well, we'll get this global pandemic over first, and then we'll worry about busting in.
You know.
Yeah. I'm like,
Did you know you can live in a cargo container across the Atlantic for probably days?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, shipping to and from the US is a nightmare right now.
You could have cut that off at the US.
All right. So what we do is we buy a refrigerator from Amazon.co.uk, and then Ash breaks into the Amazon distribution site
Hell yeah.
and hides himself in a refrigerator box. And then you'll be here in 2 days for free.
And if it goes like my cyberpunk missions, Ash will only kill 15 people near the end of it.
Yeah, great. We'll get you right here.
Well, actually, the Amazon warehouse is quite close to it. It's not like super close, but it's only about like half-hour drive up the road from me. It's not too far away.
There we go. All right, so I think my method for most of these rolls is I'm gonna roll twice and see which of the two I like better. And like, if I absolutely hate both of them, then I'll probably just pick something.
So do you guys want to go sequentially,
Right.
and we'll kind of, how do you want to do it, just for the sake of people watching?
Yeah, that sounds good, Erika.
I have a spreadsheet that I have, and I was going to kind of record things on. And I have the order as Rusty, Robert, Ash, only because that was the order of which ideas were most like concrete in minds.
That's fair. I don't feel offended. It's all right.
Well, all right then.
It's also reverse alphabetical
Okay,
order.
Ash, so I mean the front of these fucking lists for alphabetical order. These
So,
two are motherfuckers.
I've been resting on my laurels, getting things in alphabetical order. To be honest, I'm due to be at the bottom of the list at some point.
So are we doing like one thing at a time, or are we rolling all the way through the life path?
Oh no, we're gonna do each step.
Okay.
At
Gotcha.
a time
I was
for
like-
each of us.
Well, all right then. Let's sling these bones real quick.
1d10.
Yep, 1
Yeah,
to 10.
that's for the start here. I got a 1 and a 9. So I'm looking North
Those-
America or East Asia.
Those are probably the two most common
like pretty-
in Night
pretty-
City.
Yeah. So let's see.
Oh
Interesting.
wow. Okay. This is.
I'm gonna pick general region of North America, so that I'm not like pure Chinese, because I don't want to be cultural appropriatey,
Yeah,
and because
I'll-
Johnny Silverhand, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
I'm a
gonna
bit
do that.
concerned about that too.
yeah, but
I
then
I know that English is in every section.
yeah,
Thanks,
Yeah.
imperialism.
Well, that's less your cultural background, just the default language you get your free points in.
Yeah, no, I'm just amused by it. That's all.
so yeah, and I guess I'll take English as my go-to language, because that's the language that I speak in real life, and
Yeah.
none of us want the Ars Magica experience.
Oh,
Not
goodness,
all,
no.
not all speaking the same language,
Oh,
and yeah. So there we go. He will be of mixed, let's go with mixed Korean descent, because there isn't a major Korean gang, so that way I'm a little adjacent to a few gangs potentially. So yeah, I'll go mixed Korean Anglo descent.
okay, cool.
All right,
All right.
I'm next, and I rolled earlier. I just left it there. I got 4, which is the probably most boring one outside the 2 I already rolled. Eastern European. But I'm going to go with Russian as my both cultural background and kind of default language.
Oh,
Okay.
you're not gonna take English?
Well,
That's
everyone
your
speaks street slang already. And my assumption is I can put skills into English as we get deeper into the character creation. Is that correct?
Yes, you will be able to assign skill points to it. I just caution you that'll take away from other things that you may want to put skill points into.
It looks like they are saying that street slang is the default language.
Oh yeah, I see. It's
I
not automatically in here.
Yeah, I hadn't
Yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
that's
I don't.
a sig-
Part of me wonders if street slang isn't just like the slang of the
Yeah,
setting.
specifically the slang words
well,
rather
it's
than.
like as a pigeon, which is a combined language of other languages.
I didn't get the sense that street slang like was like a full language you could speak.
Yeah, I think it's more like specific slang.
It's like, do you know tune? And do you know, like, if you said virtue? If I said, you know, this girl's my main line, but you know, I have an output on the side. Like, do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Is the sort of thing. But like,
So-
if you didn't speak English, it'd be hard to have conversations.
Well, which I think is exactly why they are implying street slang is essentially the common of the setting. Everyone speaks it. We assume everyone speaks street slang, the pidgin that has evolved to use by almost everybody in the dark future. But you probably also have another primary language, a primary tongue you learned at your mother's knee.
The thing is, like, even when like someone's using street slang, it's usually as part of a sentence.
Street slang is a proper noun here. Street slang is not street slang. It is the language called street slang.
Yeah, I just
a pidgin, which is a combination language.
I hear what you're saying, and I want to believe it. The only thing that makes me feel strange is that why is English a separate language then?
I think everything might just be in English for the convenience of readers in real life 2020. Like maybe
Okay.
in the 2077 gang, like everybody is actually speaking street slang. It just happens to mostly be broadcast in English for us.
So like,
Pidgin is a language. That word does not
Could
refer to like.
And I could certainly see either interpretation, because the other part is that in that sentence they say you've another primary tongue,
Right.
which would define street slang as a primary tongue.
yes.
So I could see the sentence going either way, honestly. It's largely a question of how many skill points does a GM want people to put into
All right.
languages,
Well,
I
then,
would say.
let's say street slang is a primary language, as it seems to imply, and all these other languages are just extra primary languages.
Cool.
Okay, as long as we're on the same page, then that's good.
Yeah, so you can all speak to each other through the primary language of street slang. Whatever that amalgamation is, we're going to hand wave it away and say it's a full language that all of you can speak just fine,
Gotcha.
Okay.
and that
So-
everyone in the setting apparently can also speak.
So in terms of putting that into my sheet, like the 4 points you get in your primary language, does that go under level, stat, or base? Because that's what I've got in the fillable sheet.
Level.
Level. Okay.
Yeah, that's your skill level, and then the related stat, and then the base is skill plus stat.
Okay. Got it. Cool. Thank you.
So, all right. So we've got. Guess I should change mine now.
So mixed Korean for Rusty's character, Russian for Robert's rocker boy, and Ash.
What I rolled a 5 and a 10, so I'm choosing between Middle Eastern, North African, or Pacific Islander. I'm not really sure what to go with.
Like, or again, you can just pick one. I'm just having fun rolling twice and picking. So it's whatever.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm going with, and
Okay.
that's what I'm doing.
I just didn't want you to think like you had to.
Oh, yeah. But both the ones he rolled had two different, like.
What I mean is they're both interesting options, and I don't know what I like best.
Okay,
Again,
yeah.
I'm being problematic. So
I mean, I think as long as you're not doing like a racist accent, you're probably fine.
I'm probably not going to do an accent at all, because I find if I'm focusing on doing an accent, I'm not really focusing on what I'm hearing and what's being said. It's a bit distracting.
Hey, Ash, if it'll help you decide, I just noticed Hebrew is listed as a suggested language.
I was just thinking I could I could go with that. That did strike me there as like I could have like Hebrew as another language, because it would give me an excuse to use some of the Hebrew that I know.
Right?
But yeah, and I think that's probably I'm gonna feel less weird about that than if I went with a Maori character or something. I would feel a bit weird about that because I'm very not Maori. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go for, is a Middle Eastern character with Hebrew as my free language.
Cool.
Right. I think I'm actually going to take Mandarin as my free language, not Korean. So he's of mixed Korean descent, but I know that we've got, big chunks of Night City that are either Chinese or Japanese as the language. And numerically, Chinese is more people. So I'm just going to go with Mandarin for his second language. So he's probably from, those areas of Night City, at least initially. We'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, I think we'll do that.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, let's then follow to the next chart. So this next one is your personality, and this one is kind of fun to do, but also definitely feel free to choose something that's maybe comfortable to play as well.
Yeah.
I just got either 4 or 10, which is to say moody, rash, and headstrong, or friendly and outgoing. And what I'm going to do is actually call it a 14 and be both.
Okay.
So he's going to be largely friendly and outgoing, but kind of manic depressive in a very relatable way, where then sometimes he's just not very friendly, outgoing, and he'll get very grouchy about certain topics, but mostly friendly and outgoing, but pretty rash and headstrong too.
Cool.
All right, I rolled down a 4. I'm just gonna go with headstrong, rash, and moody.
So
Perfect for a rocker
boy.
boy.
keeping it.
Wow. Okay, and Ash.
Roll. So the two that I've rolled are arrogant, proud, and aloof, or moody, rash, and headstrong. I'm going to look at the rest of the list, because
Yeah.
I feel like both of those are going to be a bit too abrasive.
Yeah.
If we have too many of us doing that. Let's see what we got.
Let's not have a silly and fluff-headed solo. let's
That'd be so
ban-
strange.
I banned that one.
I quite like. Well, I think like shy and secretive is maybe a bit anti-plot. So I think I quite like the idea of. I like friendly, outgoing, but I also like stable and serious. I think I'll go for stable and serious. It's calling to me for some reason.
That's a great one.
So somebody is the adult of our party already.
Really.
Someone's gotta keep you all alive. Okay, scroll down. Okay, the next one I see is dress and personal style.
right.
And so this
Okay.
one, there's 2 columns here, and it probably makes more sense to just choose rather than roll. I
Yeah.
mean, you can roll if you want, but some of them don't make a whole lot of sense for
For
certain
a lot
character types.
For a lot of characters, yeah. You're. All right. I'm gonna roll and just see which I'm closer to between Urban Flash and Gang Colors.
I'm hoping you get Bag Lady Chic.
And you. I actually rolled a 3, which is exactly Urban Flash.
Okay.
So we'll go Urban Flash. He is gonna mix it up here and there, but yeah, he's definitely gonna default to a flashy, you know, eye-catching street amalgam of styles.
And what is your hairstyle?
Let's see there. We got neat and short, but that is boring. I'm gonna go with just bold.
Cool of you.
We'll just go bold. And like, just there's no way I'm not gonna start with tech hair, so it'll change every now and then. But we'll just go with bold.
All right. Give me just a second. All right, Robert.
Yeah, since I've already stolen the like iconic rocker boy art, I'm gonna go with that. Which is kind of gets important to the next bit with the tattoos, I think. So.
Are you also Urban Flash?
I think that's probably fair. Maybe maybe borders on a few things.
Okay. And your hairstyle then?
Let's see. Wild.
Wild hair.
We go wild, and all over.
Okay. All right, and Ash.
Long and straight's calling to me hairstyle wise,
Okay.
but I've decided to kind of ignore my roles. And as much as Urban Flash seems kind of like iconic to the setting and stuff, and I'm tempted, I think I'm actually going to go business wear. Basically because of the words that have come after it are leadership, presence, authority, and I like the idea that my solo has had a bit of a kind of has like maybe internalized a thing of like you should have presence and people should pay attention to you when you're in a room and that kind of thing, and I think that's maybe taking the form of dressing quite formally.
Well, and in the 2077 lore, which I know we're not quite there in this game, but remember, like the corporate style is called neo-militarism, right? And it includes kind of high-tech paramilitary stuff. So like you could still be a grotesquely effective solo in what is technically considered corporate garb, like that's
I think
that works.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm leaning, of like looking very sharp and dangerous. And the way I kind of think of it is like it's probably like what's kind of coming to me is like long, very dark, very shiny hair, like probably in like a man bun most of the time, something like that.
Okay. Our next chart says an affectation you are never without.
All right.
So like a signature look style.
1 and 1. So I got tattoos and tattoos. Let's see if anything else jumps out at me. See, a couple of them make certain flashy cyberware obsolete, so I'm not going that. I feel like gloves are a pain in the ass if you're trying to play guitar. I'll just stick with the roll. Let's go tattoos. I'm more comfortable with tattoos as body art than I am like ritual scarification. So yeah, let's go tattoos. He will as a mental note, I will be spending a lot of money on tattoos.
Cool.
And what about our rocker boy?
Let's roll. Although I have a pretty good idea already. I got a 9. Where is my list? Which is fingerless glove, which is fucking perfect. I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Be prepared to have some sort of like unique description about like what's so badass about these fingerless gloves that's a bit iconic. So like
Okay,
if anyone would see these, they'd be like, "Oh, that's this Rocker Boys." I know I've seen them before
So,
on the
yeah,
album
just
cover,
think of something cool.
right?
We'll do. We'll do.
Like I believe that kind of like the sort of fingerless, sort of like leather racing glove with like the little kind of bit like missing at the back. It's usually called a Too Fast for Love glove, which I love as a name. Like maybe yours should be like sparkly or something, or maybe that's a bit too Michael Jackson.
I don't think sparkle's going to be the right idea, but I'll also think of something.
Yeah.
Something spiky, or have like a cool design on them.
I gotta play guitar, but you have to like super in the way.
All right, Ash, what affectation?
I rolled tattoos or mirror shades, and like damn, I like both to be honest. But like tattoos seem like a permanent thing, so I guess I would literally be never without them. So yeah, I like tattoos. I mean, we're all gonna have different stuff, I presume, anyway.
Yes, and these will have to be ones that are visible.
Yeah, that's totally cool. I
So-
I kind of envisage the character being kind of covered in them anyway.
Yep, so like forearms, neck, maybe face, or just something that is
Yeah,
iconic for your character.
Yeah, I'm thinking like neck and full sleeves, probably something like that. Like probably within a theme, it's probably like, it's not like lots of different ones all kind of cobbled together. There's like definitely been a kind of artistic flow in mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's go to the next table. The next one, things get interesting. We're going to start looking at your motivations.
Alrighty.
So we have 2 columns here. We're going to choose and roll one for each of the columns. So
Gotcha.
what do you value the most, and
How do you feel about
how do you,
most people?
how do you feel about most people?
All right,
Hmm.
we got a 4 and a 9 on value most. So I value honesty or family. In theory,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go up one. I'm gonna go your word.
Okay.
Because to me, I think that's that's more of a street rep type of vibe, right? Like he's concerned with himself being honest type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that works.
That makes sense for you, the character you've talked about so far.
Yeah.
And what about
and then-
how do you feel about most people?
Right. 2 and 6. I stay neutral, or 6 is every person is a valuable individual. I guess I'll go with I stay neutral towards most people.
Okay.
Let me take a look if any others.
It's
All right,
like-
that one's pretty sociopathic. That one's pretty sociopathic. Okay, don't want those. Like 3 of these are just like I hate everybody. They're tools. Wipe them out. Yeah, I'll just stick with I stay neutral, and he'll take
Yeah,
it a person at a
It's
time.
people are people, sort of a vibe.
Yeah.
I can't control them, but you know, I have my word and I keep my word, and that's
Yeah.
what makes me better than most people. You know, something like that.
And he just, he tries to judge people on who they are and what they do. You know, not just by default disliking everyone he sees on the street.
That
Or
works. Right. All right, Robert.
All right, let's roll. Let me roll in my actual dice tray. So don't fall before. One, money. Pretty good.
He cares about money. These are going to be some great songs here.
Sell out. Yeah, I'm such a sellout. Can't wait to
Cash.
get the hell out after I sell out.
Oh, that's pretty good. But still, that.
It's-
Yeah, well, compared to the rest, money's the other thing you can fucking rely on, man. You gotta.
Well, see, and like money doesn't need to be like a Scrooge McDuck. It could be, I value money because I need it for something, right? Or like, I value money because I grew up without it, or like that's a classic trope where somebody starts out villainous. And then you find out they're robbing banks because their little sister has cancer, or whatever, right? Like it could be something you need money for.
All right. So I rolled for other most people. I got a 6, which does not really fit my money ethic. So I re-rolled a god 4. I hate almost everyone.
You don't have to keep that. You don't have to hate almost everyone.
Well, maybe I'll meet some friends. We'll see.
It's your general disposition. Like, anytime you see anyone,
You're just like,
people.
Actually, so
right?
I will pick one. I will pick here because I think it fits better. I'm gonna go with what I value most: knowledge. Like, people need to know like what's actually happening, and I'm gonna pick. How do I feel most people? People are untrustworthy and don't depend on anyone.
we'll fix that. We'll fix that.
And then if I learn some lessons,
You'll open your heart along the way.
check out my next single. People are good at.
We're gonna see what your friends and your tragic loves and your enemies are like.
Maybe it'll
That's something.
justify the original roles, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Ash will be back in a moment, so let's temporarily skip ahead just a tiny bit. And come down to
stay on this page.
yeah, staying on this page.
I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Ash is back.
Perfect timing. All right, Ash.
Sorry.
No, you're
gotta
fine.
It's so. Am I right? And I need to roll motivations and relationships. Is that?
Yes. Yep. So the first one is, what do you value most? We have knowledge from our rocker boy.
Yeah. So the my two sort of role options are my word or vengeance, which is pretty cool. I like that. But I mean, I'm an absolute sucker for love. Damn it! I should have thought about this while I was away.
Well, and like you don't have to get locked in on one right this second. I guess like it's.
I actually think I like honor. Honor like feels right for like how the character's forming up in my head. I like honor.
Okay.
I might change that later.
That's completely fine. So this would.
Yeah.
This is also like things that you value about yourself, but also could be reflected on other people as well. So if other people don't act honorably towards you, that would be some value as well.
And then I rolled 2 4s for I hate almost everyone. I'm definitely not taking that.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to hate almost everyone. I don't know. I don't think I want to like almost everyone either, though. I do like every person is a valuable individual. That sounds kind of both. Like you could take it in two ways. Like it can either be kind of taken in a compassionate way, or it can be more sort of practical and.
Like, what is the value of that individual?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. What can you do for me, basically? Like, you have value. You do something for society, but you could also bring value to me as well.
Yeah, so I like that I like its ambiguity, so I'm going to go with that.
And what I like about a lot of these is just like, if you stop and think about it for a second, right? Think about how many different ways you could interpret honor as the thing you value most, right? Like
Yeah.
that covers a lot of ground. There's a lot of different ways to define honor in a setting like this. So yeah, like and like we said with money, it could be, why do you value the money? What do you need the money for? Uh, and
Yeah.
do you value power because it lets you protect your neighborhood? Or, so yeah, there's a lot of these that are just interesting how they can, you kind of can't help but start to round out a character when you stop and think about the things you got. I like that. All right, so
moving to the bottom of the page is the most valued person in your life.
1 and 9, which is over here. A parent or a personal hero? Okay. Let's between those two. Taking the throne. No, taking the throne won't be today. Won't be affecting the session. We're not really Sea of Spearsing it today. So donations and bits and cheers and all that are, of course, as always, appreciated. But I don't want anybody to just like rack up the points and take over GMing from me by making donations on an off episode and having all banked up.
Yeah, I should probably turn that off for today. There we go.
I will take suggestions though on what to do with my character.
I'm gonna go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Robert if it was a toss up between things that you needed help with or something.
At the moment, no, but we'll see what the future has.
I'm gonna go personal hero with this, which isn't to say that he doesn't also love his mother. I'm not giving him Rusty issues, but yeah, like let's go with it. Like, because I think his mom fed him those stories so much that yeah.
And who is this person?
I think it's gonna be Silverhand.
Okay.
Like he was, yeah. I think that's what's gonna happen. Like just because that's what, like, you're special. We'll make it out of here someday, baby. You're meant for better than this. Like that stuff that plants deep roots. So yeah, let's do it. Let's go personal hero.
And Robert.
I'm also going personal hero, Silverhand. You don't tattoo Johnny Nothing Wrong on your inner thigh unless you really believe it.
Inner thigh, really?
For the record, though, what it should be is Johnny did on one inner thigh, and then nothing wrong on the other.
Now, Ash, hey, that sounds like it hurt. Set me up here.
Sounds like it hurt.
The truth often does, Chumba.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, Ash. Who's the most valued person?
It just comes with the implication that it's for a very particular audience when you put it there.
You don't know how many.
If they're that close, they have to know the truth.
It's the final test you have to pass.
Oh no! It's turned into that already. Okay. I was wondering how long it was going to take to go into the gutter. Okay.
That's where we start in this game.
Yeah, most of us.
Yeah.
As far as you guys know.
You're lucky to have this Silverhand estate that's together. These supply crates that are stacked. Very lucky to have it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with someone who could potentially love me back, unlike these two losers, and go with a sibling. I like the idea of my character having a kid sister.
Okay. Awesome. That will totally not become a plot point ever.
Yeah.
No.
I will not come to regret this decision at any point. The other one that I rolled was a public figure, and I was kind of like, no, like, I think something could
You know
come.
who's a public figure.
Yeah, no, but I did.
Saburo Arasaka.
I'm very much feeling like the character is like not the sort to like idolize public figures or celebrities or kind of anything like that. Yeah.
I feel like if you roll a 6 on that chart and you get who do you value the most, and you get a pet, then it's just like, oh no, I'm starting a new character because I don't want whatever the GM's gonna do to that dog to happen to that dog.
Yeah, my dog, info. We're the Channel Islands. You're gonna live as hermits.
Right? Just
you don't want to be John Wick in that situation.
yeah, I feel like that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the final chart on this page is what valued possession do you own? What's your most valued possession?
I think I know what I'm doing fine.
7-4. 7 musical instrument. 4 a photograph. I could see either of those working.
I could too.
For the concept. What else do we have here?
A photo of Silverhand and
like and mom, like that.
Yeah.
I could see a recording also being cool.
Mm.
Piece of jewelry could be cool. Fuck, like there's lots of these. Fuck. I don't know. I'm gonna waffle back and forth between 4 and 7 for a while.
Okay. We'll pause on that for a moment, and we'll go over to Robert, who has a good answer, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with musical instrument, but why it's important, I don't know yet. We'll have to see.
Can I just assume guitar instead of leaving it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Clearly.
It will be a guitar, but yeah.
All right. So the triangle. Let's see the stage instrument. Just okay.
This tone opens all the vaults of the certain corp. It wasn't get sentimental after all. It was important.
All right, Ash.
Yeah, I too kind of had like a couple of difficult ones to choose between, like either a weapon or a book or diary. And as much as like I'm kind of tempted to make my most prized thing like a Sefer Torah or something, I think I'm going to lean more into the solo side of things and go for a weapon, Mandalorian it up a bit.
Okay, we can wait for you to find that weapon for a moment. That way we can get to the end and make sure you can start with it.
Start with something worth valuing.
Yeah, I guess then I'll leave that as an open thing, because if it turns out I can always go with the other thing.
And of course, if you for some reason you like can't start with it because you don't have the money to make it work, you can always be like, such and such has my weapon and I need to get it back, right?
Yeah,
so
cool.
Instant
Right,
plot.
whatever corp, I left my blade behind, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I you know what, I actually kind of like the idea of like I kind of like internalizing some kind of like pop culture code of honor, like the Mandalorians, like something like that. Like your weapon is like part of you, kind of thing.
It's very Solo.
Yeah, Shadowrun, I played a phys adept who's got a sword he was obsessed with. Raised by the Japanese government as an assassin. This was a gift from the Emperor. And when he finally gave it up, it was a real emotional whole thing.
I'm going to go photograph. Since somebody else, like, he's still going to like his guitar, assuming I can afford one. But yeah, he'll have a worn old photo of Johnny slinging an arm over his mom's shoulders and stuff like that after some show.
Excellent.
Oh.
It's a screenshot of some text. Hey Johnny, how you doing? Who this?
All right. This next chart is kind of big, and it's a background for where your family was from. Sort of like, did you grow up in Corpo, housing? did you grow up on the street? Was your family in a gang? You know, that kind of a thing. And some of these are definitely not going to fit with the concept that you're already working. So we'll menage it a little bit. Massage it is a better word. And
In that it's a word.
Yes.
well, the other one is also a word, just not where we wanted to take the conversation. Although, if you wanted to be in a family of dolls, that's a thing, I guess. We'll treat it similar to gang.
Will somebody slot the mom program? I need emotional support.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
What I'm gonna do is a D8 plus 3 for this roll, so I cannot possibly land on the corporate ones.
What would be 11?
Roll again.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, because there is no D7, so you can stop possible.
Exactly. So like, yeah, but yeah, because I could see, you know, like being told to go make something yourself. Like it could be, you know, she got in with some nomads, got in tight with a gang. Maybe it didn't work out. She's not great at making something for herself, or you know, and ended up urban homeless, or you know. So like, yep, let's do this. 3. 7 plus 3 is 10. Edge runner. Oh, let's roll again. See what
Okay,
the
so your
alternate
other option.
is. The alternate would be 3 plus 3 is 6. So just growing up in a combat zone. I'm gonna do edge runner. I like the idea of it being in his blood, and like mom just kind of went anti-corpo terrorist. Say maybe a techie, or something. You know, like maybe not necessarily. She didn't like go solo, but yeah, like I could see her, you know, being a professional criminal type. So let's do that one. General background.
Robert, how about your family?
Oh, let's roll and see if something fun comes up. Because I have a few ideas. Got a 9. 9 is reclaimers. Who are the reclaimers?
Those are people who were trying to reclaim lost settlements out in the desert, basically. So ones that
I don't like that. That was boring.
okay, that was one of the kinds of like games you could run. Would be a group of reclaimers who are going to try to
Or
like,
rebuilding San Luis Obispo.
pretty much.
Yeah, I got 2 corporate managers.
Okay.
Not execs, but maybe wanting to work their way up. Probably doesn't like the stuff I say.
Cool. So we'll have a fun story of why you're here and not in the corporate lifestyle. But we'll get to that. All right, Ash.
Well, I rolled a 2 and an 8, and I could see either of them fitting. I had initially had the idea of like maybe being like ex corp. Like with this background, does it do you need to still be in that background, or can you have sort of fallen from?
No, you can have fallen for it. This is just sort of like how you grew up, like early childhood.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think like unless it's gonna like have too much overlap with Robert, I would probably stick with that.
Oh, I imagine we have very different reasons why we left.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I probably didn't leave by choice. I like the idea that kind of came from like family was initially like corporate and quite well off, and something happened to make us lose all of that. So
Yeah,
I think
my stick is gonna be I'm not gonna fucking tell anybody that like parents are some fucking middle managers at wherever.
I'll ruin your street cred.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, I'm
So
going
now
with
we know
corporate.
what your parents did, how they sort of made their living, so to speak. Now we'll get
Yeah.
into childhood environment.
Alrighty. 1-6. Ran on the street with no adult supervision. I I always picture just like feral kids like gnawing on bones and stuff. When I read like they jump up on a car like Gollum and just it's 6. Heart of a combat zone. Living in a wrecked building or other squad. Um, I'm actually gonna bump it up to a 7 because she was trying to do better. So we're gonna say he was raised in one of those mega blocks because I also just really dig the mega blocks like we're seeing in 2077 where they're full of stores and stuff like that also.
Cool. Yeah,
So like they're not quite like the mega hab units or whatever in Judge Dredd. They're communities. They just happen to be vertical instead of horizontal. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Go with a mega. Like I could see running the street like also working, but we'll do that one.
All right. And Robert.
yeah, I'm gonna roll 3 d10s here and pick whichever one happens to fit. Because there's a lot that wouldn't fit with what we have so far.
Yeah.
All right, so first one is 3 Nomad Pack. When I skip that, 1 is Run the Street Supervision. We'll skip that.
No.
Decaying once upscale neighborhood, now holding the boosters off to survive. Yeah, it kind of fits.
Number 5.
Maybe the lack of security and upscaleness is, what convinced me as a child that the corporate dream is a lie. I don't know. We'll figure out.
Or it could be how you started slumming.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Started hanging out with some less than favorable people. Man, whose music is this? That's the dude who blew up fucking Arasaka.
Blew up the town.
What? The terrorist? Isn't he bad?
All right, Ash.
I'm going with 2, spent in a safe corp zone walled off from the rest of the city.
Ooh, okay.
Works.
Nice.
Nice.
What I'm going
So all after on the court track, unlike me.
what I'm kind of what's kind of coming to me, I guess, is growing growing up in a neighborhood kind of like mainly populated by like quite well off like Jewish families, so it's been kind of like not like totally sort of separated from like the rest of society, but certainly kind of grown up in a place where like we could like walk to shul without getting mugged kind of thing, and like
definitely.
and being told like this is a good thing, like that you can do this safely. If you were out there you wouldn't be able to, and so once kind of forced out into that world has probably had a lot of culture shock going on, like kind of feeling like that safety net's gone.
Yeah.
But also kind of having to having to embrace like a lot of other kind of cultural norms and sort of modernize to an extent as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Our next table to roll on deals with your family crisis. What happened to your family? Like, what was the big thing that caused the problem?
I got 8-7. So my family is scattered to the winds due to misfortune, which kind of feels like, what's the misfortune? Like, isn't that what we just rolled for? Like, or 7, just long-term conspiracy organization or association, a crime family, or revolutionary group.
They all have merits.
Yeah. What else do we got here? Hereditary feud. I guess exiled or lost everything. I'm gonna go 7, but it's not quite like a mafia crime family type thing. It's just the generational criminal lifestyle vibe. I think.
Edge
I think
runners,
7.
right?
Yeah, I think that kind of covers that. You know, we're gonna put Anarcho Edge Runner Organization or Association. There we go. Because organizations are too organized. So yeah, that'll work.
Okay. And Roberts, how about your family? What was the big thing?
And doesn't mean I helped him with it, but we'll see what happened. 4. Family was in prison and I alone escaped.
That could explain a lot right there.
Yeah,
That's
like-
a pretty good one.
I could see Arasaka Internal Affairs swooping in while you're squatting it down in the slums one night, and you're like, where's the
That's why I wasn't there. Was at some whatever. Oh, that's so good. Okay.
I could just picture you going home one day, after like a 3 or 4 day bender, right out in the slums, and you go home and you're just like, who are you people? Where are the Takashi family? They're like, the Takashis have never lived here. What's your name? I'm gonna report you to security. And it's like, what? Nothing. Pocket sand, right? It's just like to Rob. Like I'm just picturing like this like absolutely creepy, internal affairs sweep.
I took what I was drinking. Give me a second. It was so fucking good. Yeah. My eyes are all red.
All right, Ash.
I'm going.
That's why my first was called "You Deserve What You Got."
I'm going with your family was exiled or otherwise driven from their original home / corporation.
Folks don't play around.
Yeah, I think I like the idea that like the character's parents were maybe like framed for like some like massive white collar crime of some kind and locked up, and so him and his sister have had to like grow up quick and fend for themselves.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep, framed. My mom was
I like
framed
how-
for being an edge runner, also, right?
Yeah,
I like that there's some good parallels between all the characters, but in different ways. It's
Yeah.
actually kind of neat.
All right.
yeah. Well, I like the idea that like, of leaving it ambiguous whether or not they actually did it, but
Yeah.
like my character certainly believes they didn't do it.
Okay.
This is
and
what
kind
they
of
were
like-
arrested for.
Yeah, and like the extended family have since like kind of basically left the city in disgrace, so we're kind of left on our own.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Here's the fun part that we come to now. We're gonna worry about our friends. These are the people that have your back. Not everyone's to be trusted, but there's some people that have shown their worth. And
Cool.
for this, the normal way is to roll a d10 and subtract 7. So most people will have no friends. We're gonna do
Really
1d3.
dedicated to sticking to the D10 on the rolls.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna just pretend I roll a 3 on each of these. And I'm gonna max out. So I've got 3 friends. I got 3, 4, 5. So I'm playing with the rules by having 3 friends, 3 enemies, and 3 tragic romances. But then I'm just gonna let the dice fall where they may once I get them. That's my own personal mini game. So 3, 4, 5 means that I will have a teacher or mentor, a partner or coworker, and a former lover as friends. And that's enough to work with and start fleshing stuff out.
And
1d4 or 1d3?
Make it a D3.
Okay. I got a 1. I don't have that many friends, I guess.
Yeah. That's how it goes. All right, so now roll on the table to figure out how you know this person.
All right, I've got somebody I know from the street. Number 9.
Makes sense. See you, Eccentric. Thanks for hanging out for a while, man.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, good to see you.
Easy. That's whose house I was that night. That's whose house I was at that night. My parents got arrested.
Okay. And Ash, how many friends do you have?
I'm doing a similar thing to Rusty of like going with like what the maximum allowed is, because I'd like to have. I kind of like the idea of like having the my character's life feel populous, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to. I like. Yeah, I don't like the idea of being like a borderline loner. So I rolled for someone who's like an older sibling, a former lover, and someone with a common interest or goal.
Nice.
Okay. Great. And we'll flesh those out more. In
Yeah.
detail.
Yeah, like
get a name and like a couple of sentences, just like
Yeah.
who they are. The next one is enemies. Actually, well, here it has enemies, and we do a lot of others. Yeah, we'll just do it all together. Enemies right now.
Yeah.
I put it in the wrong order on my spreadsheet. That's okay. All right, Rusty. Let's line
so
up
are we
your
gonna-
enemies.
So are we gonna roll? So enemy, what they can throw at you, and revenge.
I definitely want 3 enemies if I can pick.
All at once. Right? Like let's max it out. Let's populate the world and give Erika some ideas. You know, is my thought.
Yeah, I'm very in agreement there.
So all right, let's do.
I have an NPC that I made as well. So this could be a time to integrate her. Maybe I should have mentioned her before we did the friends part as well. But I see her as sort of a fixer type, and I have named her Roulet, Roulet, and she is the owner proprietor of a place called Cafe Roulet, and it is a Moulin Rouge steampunk type of bar, brothel, and show stage.
That sounds extremely cool.
Okay.
I know where I'm doing gigs.
I would probably rather her not be an enemy necessarily.
Right.
But
Yeah,
we'll say
that
she's
sounds like
in your neighborhood for where you live.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
So, did we roll for each column individually for this?
Yes. So the first thing is, since you've already decided you're going to have 3, we'll do this 3 times total. But for each enemy, we'll figure out sort of like their relationship to you, what caused it, and then what they can throw at you. So we'll start with Rusty and doing Rusty's first one.
Right. So we got. So that's gonna be. Sorry, it's 10-3-5. That's
Okay. A booster.
Goody.
ganger.
goody. A booster ganger is after me. 3 humiliation. Good.
Wait.
5
So
is
who was wrong here? Did they humiliate you, or did you humiliate them?
I think it's more likely that I humiliated them. An insulting song or a sharing a some spy cam footage, or I don't know, something. We'll think about it.
Okay. And
and
what
they've
are
got-
they going to be able to do about it?
They've got themselves and a few friends. So it's a D10 divided by 2 friends. So at least it's not like a whole gang.
You're gonna be surprised of your own.
That's still you know, a D10 divided by 2 plus 1 versus 1.
Yeah.
So I still don't like those odds. And then a 10. Sweet revenge. They're just out to murder or maim me.
Why don't we roll that D10 divided by 2 right now so I can type it
okay.
in?
1 second. I got the onk face.
Is that
And
the
I need
one
to
or the
double
10?
check. It's the 1.
Okay,
It's
so
boring.
1 friend.
It's good. I'm gonna roll it again.
Okay.
All right, 8. So that would be 4. So there you go. That makes it, you know, a little more fun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go and do Robert's first, and then we'll come back.
All right. So what do we got? Let's do a 2, an ex-lover. Perfect.
We will describe them above.
Yeah. Let's do caused it. 9. One of you was a business rival. Must be a rival musician.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's bands fall apart from that
Yeah.
shit all the time.
Yep.
Maybe we had a duet, didn't work. I don't know. And then what can they throw at me? Let's see. A 7.
Local cops.
God, this is why it didn't work out between us. Fucking goddamn cops. All right, that's my first.
All right, Ash.
Right. So
Are you recording these rolls? Sorry, Ash.
no, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I stopped recording things because
Yeah, I've got this recorded,
okay, perfect.
marked down here, and we can add more details like a name and other things later on.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so, sorry, Ash. Please continue.
That's cool. I started kind of just getting rolls done while you were doing stuff. So like I've landed myself 2 ex-lovers and a corp exec. So clearly some of us get around a bit. So first you've got an ex-lover who's a business rival, and they can throw just themselves and a close friend at me.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, and I sleep with the chick who's in with the cop. Lovely.
Okay. All right, so we've got 1 for each of you. Let's circle back around to Rusty for enemy number 2.
I just rolled 594, which is person working for you, 9, business rival,
Do you want to keep the
4.
person working for you?
themselves in a few. I think it would be more like person working with me. Well, I am a fixer, so maybe I set up a job for them, and that counts as person working for you.
Sure.
If they
I
want to do a
guess-
job.
And it's coming up business rival. Maybe they. Person working for
Maybe another
maybe
fixer
they wanted
gave
to
a better
be,
offer.
yeah, run the
or
neighborhood type of thing. So some edge runner that I used to kind of run with wanted to take over doing some deals in the neighborhood as a business rival. Then 4. Great. D6 divided by 2 friends. 4. So 2 friends. That's what we got.
Okay. Robert.
Rival edge runner.
All right, let's roll. A 0. That is a 10.
Booster.
A booster ganger. Ooh, what did I do?
We are popular in this with the popular with the gangers.
Cause you to lose face or status. Ooh, you're not like my diss track.
Cause
And,
the other to lose face. So,
Yeah.
which one of you caused it?
Oh, I caused it.
You.
The way I
Okay.
didn't cause it.
Yeah,
I should have had to ask that.
right.
And 9. They can throw a powerful corporation at me. Oh God, I'm like this off.
I know. It's kind of weird.
They're a little weird.
Like,
So they can either have some weird background with the court my parents worked for, or maybe I can re-roll it. Either way, it's fine with
Maybe
me.
you should re-roll that.
I'll re-roll it for a 6, which is an entire gang. It's just a gang. One d
Their entire booster gang?
people.
Yeah.
I'll roll for people.
Okay.
2. So it's just 7 gangers.
plus the booster ganger themselves.
Yeah, so 8.
So let's see. I've got. So that makes so far, in just these last like 3 rolls, we've got almost 20 people after us.
Let's hope they don't show up at the same time.
Let's hope they don't decide to work together.
Plus all of law enforcement.
Right, yeah. Plus all the normal edge runner bullshit we pick up. Great.
All right, Ash. You said you had another ex-lover.
Yeah. So like my second role was also ex-lover, but different circumstances following it. This one of us caused the other to lose face or status, and they can bring themselves and a few friends. That's D10. I think it's divided by 2 if it's got the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the American divide
5
symbol.
friends.
How many was that? I'm sorry.
5.
Okay. Okay. And for the final rounds, going back to Rusty.
I just got 263, which is an ex-lover turned down to the other's offer of a job or romantic involvement, and it's themselves and one close friend. So some ex of mine maybe wanted to get more serious than I did, and now they and their new partner are kind of out to get me. That's why I was sitting here chuckling as I looked at the
What was the
like,
cost? I missed the middle one.
It was turned down the other's offer of a job or romantic involvement. So I'm thinking it's the romantic involvement. Like, just wanted to get a lot more serious than me. And yeah, that's whoa, no. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. And then, yeah. So that's what had me chuckling. I was like, nope, no, that tells a not great story.
So
Or a hilarious story.
So your ex-lover and their new thing are going to come after you for some reason. Okay, I got it.
He wasn't into it.
So this one, unlike all the other ones, may not be strictly like combat related.
Right? Yeah, like it could be anything, and it's not at all necessarily street or crime related. It's just
I'm gonna assume
anybody.
The way you declined to commit was so atrocious that they're going to do something now against you.
Well, some people just get kind of obsessive. So, like it's not impossible. I think it happens to girls more than it happens to guys. But, some people aren't good at rejection.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Robert.
All right, let's roll. We got a 0, another booster ganger. God, they do not like me. For 6, turn down their offer of a job of romantic involvement.
Do you want job offer or romantic?
Do romantic involvement, that's funnier. And then we'll do what they can throw at me. A powerful gang lord or small corporation. Who the fuck keeps coming to my fucking shows?
So that all right. So what I'm hearing is that their gang leader wanted to date you, and you just kept saying no, and they were not going to take no for an answer, and so now it's personal.
Yeah, and apparently they're the fucking, I don't know. They own some either big gang, big shot, or they were from some small corp family or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, as a booster ganger, it sounds like they'd run the gang, most likely. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have to go to a corp. It would just be their leader.
So it's just Maelstrom leader wanted a smoochy face,
Yeah.
and you didn't want to, and now they want to eat you. So yeah, it's
It's
just normal stuff.
Just normal rocker boy stuff.
Yeah, it
Royce
happens.
can't take rejection.
yeah. All right, Ash, your final enemy. Well, that we're going to list here. It's very
Yeah.
possible there could be more.
Final
The final
official.
you in the game with.
Yes.
My final is a corp exec who caused me. Well, one of us caused the other to lose a lover, friend, or relative, and what I rolled for what they can throw at me was a powerful corporation. So, do you want me to re-roll that?
Do you want to re-roll that?
No.
No. Okay.
I think just particularly because it slots so neatly into what I've already got for backstory that like a corporation fucked us over, so that it just fits really neatly, I think.
Okay. Let's nail down a little bit more the loss of lover, friend, or relative. Right? Is that the...
I think I'm gonna like kind of play into what I've already established and have them like they caused the death of one of my family members. We'll say one of the parents, and the other one has been locked up for crimes they didn't commit.
Okay.
I pissed off 2 gangs. I can't believe this.
Yeah, like at least I only have one gang after me.
We've got very strong personalities.
Right.
Okay.
2 gangs and all the police.
There is one more thing we have to do for each of these that I forgot to look for. The question is, what are you or they going to do about it? So what is the wronged party going to do about it? So in all of these, it's except for this last one, it sounds like they were the wronged party in this. So except for this last one that Ash just described. So let's go on that one. What are you going to do about this corp exec that caused the death of your parent?
Let me just do a quick roll and find out. Wow. What I got for like the 2d10 roll was I can either go into a murderous rage and try to physically rip their face off, or I can verbally attack them. I think I actually I like the idea of really hating this person's guts, I think. So, but I actually think I maybe don't. I don't know if that goes far enough. I might set out to murder or maim them, possibly.
Okay.
I mean, having their face is pretty nasty.
Or I suppose there could be some poetic justice in setting them up for a crime they didn't commit. Possibly. Yeah, you know what? I actually like that. I think I prefer the idea that my character's playing a long game and wants to like really get them good, cold-blooded style.
What's to ruin them, not just kill them, type of thing. Gotcha.
I think I'm going to go with that. Of 9, I'm going to go with 9 of set them up for a crime they didn't commit, and that'll be my revenge.
All right. So let's go over to Rusty's enemies. The first one was a booster ganger that Rusty humiliated publicly, and this booster ganger has themselves and 4 other gangers for their strength. And what are they going to do about it?
I actually wrote all 3. So for the booster ganger, theirs is a 10. They want to murder or maim me. So classic booster ganger. Well,
sense.
just what we thought. And then for the business rival that has a couple of new friends, they got a backstab indirectly. So I imagine they're going to try and undercut us on jobs, maybe set us up for some jobs, stuff like that.
Yep.
So I'm thinking it's just like another small edge runner crew. And then for the ex-lover with the new input, that's kind of obsessed with me, they also got backstab me indirectly. So she's out to ruin my life somehow in an unwholesome and unhealthy fashion. So there you go, Erika. You've got people out to just wreck me from the shadows, and then one guy and a bunch of his friends that are out to just shoot up on combat drugs and wreck me from in front.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, and Robert's rocker boy now, your ex-lover. What are they going to do about
This is the one in with the cops for some reason.
Yes, the one that is willing to go to the cops about you.
I rolled avoid discount. I don't think that's very good for having the whole cops on their side. I'm gonna re-roll it.
Okay.
8. Set them up for a crime or transgression and didn't commit. Oh.
8
No,
is
no,
actually
eight,
verbal
eight.
attack.
8 verbally attack. 9. I like 9 so much so. Can we go with 9?
Yes. Okay. And
That makes more
you're-
sense than cops like yelling at me
Yeah.
and setting me up for a crime.
Yeah. Now you have 2 different booster gangers.
Yeah.
Potentially, this could be the same booster gang. You've just sort of upset different
Levels of
levels.
Yeah, for the first one, which I believe was the
You cause them to lose face, and they're willing to throw their entire gang towards the endeavor of getting back at you.
oops. You got a 0. That is set out to murder or maim.
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right.
They were very scathing lyrics. I didn't think after I negged their whole gang, their leader would show up, but he wants to.
You.
Dude, go into a murder. Avoid this. Another 8, which is verbally attack. This is not good.
it doesn't feel very booster gangy.
Yeah.
Like
Happens the same thing.
like
Right.
some,
Why? This guy doesn't like me. He hates me. He wants to avoid me. He's
some
afraid.
psycho ganger named Sledgehammer shows up and wants to rap battle. Like instead of shows up with their whole gang, and they're like, "You, me, right now."
All right. I finally got a 3, which is murderous rage as well, which is appropriate.
So all right, we've got 3 different groups of booster gangers out to kill us.
Okay.
2.
Ash,
Whatever.
we have 2 of your ex-lovers that are
Out
bent
to
on
ruin,
revenge.
out to backstab us or set us up for crimes. Great.
So-
great.
I mean, probably just me personally. It's probably nothing to do with you guys. So what I rolled was the first one is planning to backstab me indirectly, and the second one wants to physically rip my face off in a murderous rage.
Okay. Okay.
Clearly a bad boy.
All right, this is going well.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Next we have Tragic Love Affair.
Yay, my favorite.
Yeah, I'll roll it. I'll roll this one.
All right, so this is another one that is a D3. Ash, we need to get you at least 2 because you have 2 ex-lovers as enemies.
Yeah.
Will these include those, or are these in addition to those?
Well, I mean, actually, like, because one of my friends is an ex-lover as well, so I need 3, I think.
Yeah, so like these could be the same exact ones that we've mentioned prior.
Yeah.
Or they could be different.
So like we can just roll and see.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I say
Well, I
roll the
mean,
D3 and
They aren't even like, you know.
Yeah, like I was going like the same as Rusty. I was going for maximum anyway.
okay. All right, Rusty, tell me about your 3 tragic loves.
I got a 1, 4, and 8. So I had I had a lover die in an accident.
Damn, we around you as deadly.
A personal goal or vendetta came between you and your lover. An 8. Your lever was killed in a fight. Okay, great.
Fuck.
So okay then. And that. So let's go.
Okay. Robert.
Let me roll a d6 and see what we got. We got 4. That is a 2. So I'll roll 2 d10s. I have a 5 and a 7. One of my levers was kidnapped. I guess I just fucking left them there. The other committed suicide. Oh, it's sad.
That's sad.
All right, Ash.
Okay, so I rolled a 2, an 8, and a 1. So 1 mysteriously vanished. Possibly after I made them lose face or status that I maybe didn't think was such a big deal, but was clearly big to them.
Yeah, so maybe you've just forgotten, like, they just disappeared on you. You don't know what happened to them.
They
And
didn't, like,
one day they're going to show up.
mysteriously vanished, as in Ash blocked them on Facebook. No, whatever.
I think and eventually they might turn up and like have this big grievance, like you did this thing, and I'm like, really?
You're alive?
Yeah, you said you were fine at the time. Yeah, and one. So I've got 1 mysteriously disappeared, an 8. So 1 was killed in a fight, and 1 died in an accident.
Could
Yeah, so
Warp not telling you what happened to your lever be one of the reasons you left?
So was that a question to me?
Yes. You say a thought to consider. That's all.
Oh no, I get it. Like we were kicked out of my family was kicked out of the corp, so this would.
Oh, okay. So you were left already. Never mind.
But I mean, like certainly one of them or more could be attached to before that happened, or another corp that maybe got involved with later.
Yeah. So my lever was, I figured that they got rescued, but they were like, I'm out. This is too much.
Yeah.
Let me say that I personally enjoy the artwork on this page.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Yeah.
The colors and stuff in particular are really striking to me.
Do kissing quick.
I'm thinking for mine that died in a fight, that probably ties into the booster ganger I humiliated. Like I beat the booster ganger at something, right? Like one night we're drunk, we're doing whatever. I beat the booster ganger, they're humiliated. They take a shot at me and kill my girl. I take a shot back at them and we start picking off their gang, and now it's just like escalated to a green light on me. I feel like that killed in a fight kind of makes sense for that one.
Yeah. And these don't have to be connected necessarily.
Right. I just like the idea of that feeding into, because I'm like, all right, what do I do to a booster gang that's got, him and like a half dozen buddies? Like, it's got to be pretty serious. I'm thinking that sort of escalation, works for that.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So we have one more of the generic wrap up, life path, and this is your life goal. What is your character's goal in life? Like, what are you trying to do?
7, get what's rightfully yours, or 9, gain fame and recognition. I'm not sure what would. I feel like what he probably sees as rightfully his is fame and recognition. Like that's what I see when I read those two side by side. Let's take a look. He doesn't really want to get off the street. He probably likes the street. Cause pain and suffering to anyone who crosses you. Hunt down those responsible for your miserable life and make them pay. Save someone involved in your background. Nah, that'll be alright.
Yeah, they're fine.
They can take care of themselves.
Yeah,
That's
she's
all right.
fine. It's all right. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with
Just like your ex-lover who died.
yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with
Too
I'm
soon,
gonna
Eric.
go I'm gonna go with get what's rightfully mine, which is probably just like recognition as the inheritor to Johnny Silverhand.
We
type
just
of-
learned about what's her name too soon.
Yeah,
He dies early.
Okay. Let's see. Robert.
Yeah,
What is
mine's
your
pretty easy. I'm gonna go with fame and recognition as well because I don't see any other choice really. I guess I can say my family, but I'm really mad at them still.
yeah, like not until they ask.
Not until they come begging.
All right, Ash. What is your life goal?
I chose this one. I'm tempted by get off the street no matter what it takes because I do like the ambition of that, but I think the more pressing one, given what's kind of evolved so far, is hunt down those responsible for your miserable life and make them.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good for your character.
Yeah, I think it could be. So I might have to change that the value further up, change it from honor to revenge. But it could also, I mean, that could also just be folded into a matter of honor.
Like absolutely, that's still part of your
Yeah.
reputation or code or whatever.
Yeah, man's got to have a code.
All right. So at this point, we have more life path stuff to do, but it's tied into your specific role. And
Okay.
Rusty did mention earlier that you can sort of choose a different role's life path to go through if you think it fits more. The example being the tech that's part of the nomad culture. Probably makes more sense to go with the nomad life path than the tech. So if, if that makes sense, you can do that. Otherwise, we can look at those roles specifically.
I'm happy to look at the roles.
Okay. Rusty had held off on declaring a role, hoping to find
Yeah.
out through the life path system where he might land up. Have you come to any sort of revelation?
I think I'm leaning more towards Fixer, just because it's a little bit more of a social thing. And like you can still try to be a street racer, like you just lose to nomads. But like if or when you ever get a car, like you could still be part of a flashy subculture type of thing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go Fixer there. I'm also just kind of eyeballing the Rocker Boy page for ideas because again he's trying to kind of get taken seriously as a guitarist. So maybe we'll see if I can fit into any of Rob's Rocker Boy roles as being in a group.
I'm
you know-
definitely figuring that I'm more of a vocalist with like maybe rhythm guitar, so a lead guitarist would be fantastic.
All right. Well,
So,
then why don't we
that's what
start
I'm leaning.
with Robert then, since we're on the Rocker Boy page. We'll go ahead and do this one. These life paths are very kind of like similar. There's like a flow chart of different tables to roll on that kind of like give flavor
that's
to
fun.
the career of being a rocker boy.
Yeah, so start off right off the bat, musician is what we're going with. Was I in a group or solo act? Well, I have that ex who's a business rival. Maybe that used to be part of the group, so I was a former group act. I'm currently solo, but was once in a group.
Yeah, so then we go solo now. Were you once in a group? So let me write down. Solo
Reason.
was
Sounds good.
group. All right, so let me scroll down. All right, so we come down here to the group. So why did you leave? Reason. You were a jerk, and the rest of the group voted you out.
I got a 1, which is exactly that. I'm a jerk, and the rest of the group voted me out.
Or we could try and tie it a little bit more to your split with your girlfriend. your main line.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. We can do 2 then. I got cut through around
Yeah.
Listen, I had different opinions on what was fair game than this person.
So you
I
want?
didn't realize their dad was chief of police or whatever, but
All right, so you slept around with another member's main line, so that the other members
So
probably.
yeah. Like,
All right,
that
so
pissed off your main line and the other band member, and
yeah.
that's why the band fell apart. Like,
Yeah.
it's too many people hating you. Like,
Whoops. You look the same when I'm high. I swear. It's not my fault.
Listen, I dreamed we had to talk about this and it was all cool, right?
Yeah.
You had the same dream, right? In my dream, you had the dream.
All right, so where do you
No,
perform?
I'm not that high. Just a little bit high.
So where do you perform now?
Well, that's a good question. Let's roll it. 4 gorilla performances.
Okay.
just kind of wherever.
Is that gorilla G-U-E-R or G-O-R?
With an E.
I was just imagining you in a gorilla suit.
There's been a few. My character's name is going to be Knox, by the way. N-O, capital N-O, little x, pronounced Knox.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
it'll be between the occasional main performances at our this NPC's place. Yeah, we'll stage some gorilla solo performances. That's what everyone came to see me anyways, not the band.
All right, and who is gunning for you related to your music?
Who isn't?
Oh, a couple of booster gangs from your enemies list, apparently.
One old crew member who thinks you did them dirty. I don't know why they would have thought that.
Well, that ties in so well.
Mm. All right, that is So clearly, I have to do gorilla performances. Things aren't going that well as a solo act. I need to get some more members. I need a guitarist. I need so much.
Okay. Let's
And
move on.
protection. I'm getting shot at a lot.
All right, we'll move on to the solo life path for Ash.
Yeah,
The
so...
first question is, what kind of solo are you?
So I think what's most appropriate is probably like street muscle for hire. I'm thinking kind of like after getting kicked out of the comfortable lifestyle has probably kind of just sort of taken odd jobs that need someone who's quite tough. So, like, do you need a boot pulled off your car, or do you need furniture moved around your house, or do you need someone smacked around a bit? I can do all of these things. So kind of being sort of friendly neighborhood solo, I guess.
Yeah, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Solo. What is your moral compass like?
Oh.
What kind
I'll
of
roll.
jobs do you take on?
I'm gonna roll, but also choose.
Okay.
Right. I've actually kind of gone. It's landed on something that's probably actually quite good. Willing to bend the rules and the law to get the job done seems pretty good. I mean, the other one I rolled was a 6. I'm definitely not going totally evil. That doesn't work for me at all. Though I do also like, I guess, will occasionally slip and do unethical or bad things, but it's rare. I think I'm probably going to be a bit of a Boy Scout. Yeah, I guess probably would be like trying to only take out bad guys, but what qualifies as a bad guy might be a bit fluid at times, possibly.
Okay. So which of these do you think is the closest?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. Like some of them, like a lot of these seem like they overlap.
Yeah, I agree.
a fair bit.
Okay. Well, then, in your words, what do you want to write down?
Yeah, and while I'm kind of tempted by like always spare the innocent, I think it might come down to just pets at that point. and children, possibly. So I think I'll go for will occasionally slip and do unethical or bad things, but it is rare.
Okay. Excellent. The next one is, what is your operational territory?
Let's see what we got. I think I'm kind of probably gonna go for like the whole city.
The whole city. Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. The territory of a particular fixer, maybe Rusty's character.
Actually, you know what? That probably works a bit better because I am thinking of them more as being like on a more local level. Like could potentially take like jobs all over the city, but probably sticks to like near where they live. So
Okay.
yeah, I think I'll go territory of a particular fixer.
All right, I'm just gonna write down Rusty's character there for that. And
Yeah,
who's gunning for you?
I think the kind of the one that makes most sense for me anyway is like a corporation you may have angered, or I mean possibly a rival solo from another corp. I don't know. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I mean, what do you think? I mean, if any of you
Rival solo is pretty fucking cool, to be honest. It's like
Sure,
totally out of the background.
yeah, let's go with that. I mean, they can be attached to the corp that is my family's enemy, I suppose.
So a corp solo.
Yeah.
Ash
So,
brings us high class threats.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking. I guess I'm thinking possibly like the corporation that fucked over my parents, like know that my sister and I got away, and has maybe like gone like, right, you solo that works for us, find them and mop them up for us, will you? Something like that, maybe.
There was like some old rivalry or two who like got extracted by another corp or whatever,
Yeah.
and then they sent him after you because it was personal.
All right, Rusty, have you thought about a life path?
I'm gonna use Fixer. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to
And
Fixer. Okay. All right. What kind of fixer are you?
for this one, I got procure rare or atypical resources, and it's probably not a very exclusive clientele though. He just gets stuff for people, right? I picture just kind of sure whatever. I can help with that. Yeah, it's the word exclusive that I think doesn't quite fit this guy, but it's more of a catch as catch can. He will try to help out, and he probably knows somebody that can help out, and he'll get it done. So yeah, just procuring rare or typical resources, which could be people even, right? Like it's corporate extractions, it's whatever. So there's that. For my office, I chose.
Before you get there, the next one is: do you have a partner? Do you work alone?
We're gonna go work alone. I think just keep it. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Let's do odds evens. Odds. Okay, he's got a partner. And since I didn't flesh this out at all, let's just go for it. 4. He has a mentor. So some mentor fixer has taken him under his wing, and he kind of subcontracts for them. So, okay.
Could be your teacher, mentor, friend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll think about that.
Okay, that makes sense.
And for office, I was just gonna pick number 2, He works out of a local bar. It's not technically a booth at a bar, but it's a corner at roulette. Like he's got, I don't
Fancy.
know, roulette.
Okay.
Sorry.
Really.
I don't know the exact layout, but he's got a table there, or a booth, or a corner, or the alley out back. Whatever relationship he can establish with roulette, it's just kind of known that you can get a hold of him there,
Okay.
because that
Perfect.
sounds like a fun place.
Yeah, I was intending for it to be.
Yeah.
fun.
So there. Well, I figure we'll tie that in directly.
All right. Who are your side clients?
Two local gangers who also, which is why so many of them hate us. So local ganger, who also protect your work area or home. That's nice. So yeah, some local gangs that look after roulette and all that. Like we get them stuff from time to time. That works. And who is gunning for you? 3 execs who want you to work. I don't think executives want me to work for them exclusively.
Probably not.
I don't think he's there yet. Let's see. What do we got? Combat zone gangers who want you to work for them exclusively. Rival fixer.
They're trying to procure your talents. Like, we know you get the
Yeah.
good stuff.
Like full time. We got what else?
With this
Um,
involuntary extractions.
let's do I don't know. Let's roll again. I could see most of these except for the executive like working okay. Rival fixer trying to beat you out for resources and parts. Is what I rolled there, and I do have a. Yeah, I mean, I do have that former,
Perfect.
that professional rival that's out to
Yeah.
backstab me. I could see that being
Yeah.
trying to,
I also kind of
trying to-
feel like we rolled enough enemies that kind of
Yeah.
covers this. As opposed to like the normal rules where most people
Right.
won't have an enemy. This at least gives you one.
That's
So,
okay.
I think we kind of covered it. So
So yeah, it's probably gonna be that guy out
let's
to
save right
undercut our prices and stuff.
fixer. Yeah.
Yeah, because in these latter rolls, I've been trying to find ways to make them pair up,
Yeah.
and 2 birds, 1 stone type of thing.
That makes sense to me.
So, all right, there we go.
Alright, and this is a nomad and to the scream sheet. Bam. There we have. Alright, so that is it for like the wife path type system. So we have lots of details on all of that. The next step starts into the numbers. So we did the qualitative character generation, and so we move into quantitative, if you will, to use some science terms that I know. Let's see, stats. I'm just gonna skip through this a little bit. So you might remember when Rusty did the character gen stuff a few weeks ago on this channel, and he mentioned it again earlier. They provide 3 different ways to do the numbers of character gen. One is a quick and dirty, here's templates, just write this down onto your character sheet and you're ready to go. Easy as that. And then there's like a sort of a medium level of involvement where you can sort of pick and choose a few things, but it's still kind of a template. And then there's the full character generation, where it's basically you get X number of points, divvy them up how you see fit, and it gives you a lot more freedom. And this is kind of like what allows you to take the cookie cutter role and then break out from that mold and say that I am a fixer, but I also play an instrument and I do these other things too. So I have other skills besides only doing fixer things. So I imagine that's what Rusty will use.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use the option 3. What do they call it? Complete package, or
I kind of want to go that route too,
Yes.
even though it's a little more complicated.
Yeah.
I guess I'll probably, do the same because that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah. They make it sound like a lot, and for people who probably aren't familiar with role playing games in general, it probably is quite a lot. And
I like that methods 1 and 2 exist, though, as just a quick way to get started, as a way for a GM to throw together pre-gens before a convention game or something, So, yeah, like, I like that the first 2 are there, and even just for guidance, right? Like, just to help you, get an idea of, like, oh, right, I should probably be able to do this, for the method 3. But
Right.
yeah, I think method 3 is going to feel the most natural to just people that have played role-playing games a lot,
yeah. So there are 3 methods. One is the simple way is called Street Rats, and here to get your attributes, you find the table for the role that you want to be, and you just roll a d10, and then you just write down the numbers in each column for your different attributes. So simple as that, and it gives some variety, especially for the GM. Just makes it real easy to come up with characters that aren't exactly the same, but will get the job done. And you could also use it for reference when you're creating your character with the complete rules to say, did I make something that's similar to what their templates are, like sort of like a sanity check, like oh, I made a solo, but my reflex is really low in comparison to what all the templates have. Maybe I should rethink this a little bit. So
Fair.
you can kind of use it to sanity check what you're doing. The medium method is called Edge Runner, and in this one, you roll on your table, but instead of choosing the entire row, you roll for each individual attribute, and this gives quite a lot of variance. Sometimes it results in characters that are a little underpowered, and sometimes it results in characters that are a little overpowered just by adding up all of the numbers together.
Yeah, just
so
by adding that randomness. We made Cyberpunk characters a couple weeks ago, my local group, just to hang out. I ended up rolling the lowest possible attribute in everything except for Dex. Like, for the character that I was making, 9 out of 10 or whatever, 7 out of 8, however many it is. Like, all but one of them ended up with the worst possible roll. And it was kind of, he was like, no, you
bad.
You did not survive. Like, yeah, so we just, yeah, it was interesting.
Real quick, before we get into this, can we take a quick break? I need to get something in my stomach.
Oh,
That-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
break would be cool.
Yeah, so let's break for...
Before we break, just to describe the third method is you get X number of points to distribute as you wish.
Yeah,
Like,
I
there's
definitely
that.
want to do that.
Yeah. So,
I need a food.
and while we're on our quick break, Erika, don't forget, it's up to you how many points we get. Like,
Yes.
they've got a default, but you get to pick. So, yeah, you can let us
I'll
know
give
when we
that
get back.
some thought
From-
during the break.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll go like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Be back in a couple, everybody.
All right.
Cool.
Everybody.
Alright, and we're back from the break. So at this point we're going to assign all of our attributes, and it recommends a starting character to get 62 points. I'm going to be generous and make this a nice round number of 60. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to bump it to 65 to make it, well,
Okay.
I'll say an even number.
Couple.
But essentially, there are 10 stats, so if you think of 60 points, that gets each of them 6s, and then with 5 leftovers, and an average of 6 on your stats is pretty good. That's probably a lot better than an average person. So we're starting fairly capable players.
Yeah, I mean, is there a standard for like what constitutes like human average?
5, I think, is human average.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're
So the caveats here are that you can only you have to put stats between 2 and 8.
Okay.
So nothing higher than an 8 and nothing lower than a 2 in your attributes.
Okay.
And the system works where you take your attribute and you add it to the skill points that will do next, and that gives you a base number. And then you roll a d10 and add that base number to it, and that gives you your result to do your test. So if you're familiar, like in D&D, there's a similar thing where you have an attribute and you add your skill to that, and then you roll a d20. Well, in this game, you roll a d10 instead.
Okay. What page are we looking at now?
I'm on page 78 in the book.
I got lost. Right, cool. So I can try and fill this out.
And I believe I sent you the fillable character sheet, which should
Yeah, I've got it up right now. So I take it the attributes are that long column on the left. Int, ref, dex, tech, cool. I recognise those already.
Mm-hmm.
What about will, luck, move?
Yeah,
that
so
kind of thing?
willpower is sort of a score that is how headstrong you are, and if you look to the side in the character sheet, let me open up a fillable sheet so our viewers can see it as well. Let me zoom in a little because that's really tiny. You can see
Right,
which ones tie into will. So concentration is based upon your willpower. That's one. Things like endurance, resist, torture, and drugs is also willpower.
Mm-hmm. Take it EMP is that empathy?
It is empathy, and this is a social skill.
So why does that and luck, like why are those divided and it says out of?
Great
Is that for
question. It's because you're going to have a score for your empathy that you're going to put in right now. During the gameplay, and there's ways that is going to lower your empathy. The main way this happens is through the implanting of cyberware. Everyone has a humanity score, which starts out as 10 times your empathy. So let's say you put a 7 in empathy, and so you end up with 70 humanity points. When you put some cyberware in you, you lose some of your humanity. And once you lose in increments of 10, you will lose a point of empathy off of your maximum. And so when it says blank out of blank, it would be like maybe 5 out of 7 empathy, and so that 5 would be what you use to roll when you have a skill check to do.
Okay.
There are ways to raise that back up even while having cyberware in you. So there's like some therapy and such to help sort of cope with having sort of an experience where
a gun arm or whatever.
yeah.
All right.
And luck. So how luck is used in gameplay is during the game session. Let's say you have 6 points of luck. Before you roll, you can use any number of those points and apply it to your roll. So maybe you're going to shoot a ganger, and you're normally a base score of 10 plus the d10. Well, maybe you really want to hit them, and so you're going to use 2 points of your luck to add to that as well. So then now you're 12 plus your d10. And that'll refresh at the next game session.
Okay. I may have to ask about this again later if I forget.
No, it's completely fine. The skill list is fairly intimidating here, so.
Right, so
And
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that's part of where those templates are handy. Again, is you could just go, oh, this is what they say a solo should have. Okay, it can help narrow things down a little.
Yeah, I was gonna read out what my sort of preliminary spread looked like, so that you would be able to tell me if it was if I needed to change things.
Yeah. So for right now, we'll worry about the attributes, which is the intelligence, reflex, dexterity, tech, cool, willpower, luck, move, and body and empathy. So move is the other one we haven't covered. In combat, it tells you how far you can move on your turn. And this is in meters. So if you have movement of 6, you can move 6 meters on your turn.
All right, let's beat it up.
Just even with the even with the extra 3 points, I'm like, man, that's not.
It does make some tough choices, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I'm going to scroll up to the solo table to look at. So generally speaking, having a high reflex is going to help you to be able to shoot your weapons. Well, shoot and melee is all based on reflex.
Yeah.
Cool is used for sneaking a lot.
Quick correction: melee is dex.
Oh, thank you. My bad.
Yeah, no problem. I just didn't want Ash to tank it. Who needs that? Oh no.
Yeah. So on the solo template here, reflex seems to be like the highest, as well as body tends to be pretty high. Dexterity is also another higher stat. Cool is also a pretty high stat as well. And if you remember, empathy, having a higher empathy will allow you to get more cyberware as the game goes as well. So so middle or higher, I would suggest for that. Go back to the character sheet. Yeah, as we see.
I mean, I certainly do see the character as being probably on the sensitive side for a solo.
That's totally fine. There'll be times where that will come in very handy.
So should I tell you what I've done so far so that you can reality check it?
Yeah, let me switch back to the table. Yep. Okay.
just to kind of help me.
Yeah.
Help me not fuck up my character generation. So I've dropped into 5.
Okay.
And I've got Ref 7, Dex 7, Tech 5, Cool 7, Will 7, Luck 5, Move 6, Body 8, and Empathy 8.
Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable. Yeah, and these won't be locked in as well. So in a little while, when we work on our skills, you might see that you wish you might had another point or two in a certain skill, and so you might
Yeah, I think
go back
that's-
and redo some of the attributes a little bit. But for a first pass, that's a pretty reasonable go at it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring like I probably don't need to work like. I don't want to drop them below average intelligence. I mean, I could maybe stand to lose another point in tech. I don't mind being not great at that. I might mind later.
Yeah. In
this,
the
this is turning out a quite different build from my 2077 character because
Yeah.
like I went really hard on intelligence and body. I think were my 2 main ones in tech.
yeah.
So it's kind of opposite. I'm going a lot more for like actual sort of physical
Yeah.
resilience, I guess.
On the template, the tech score is the clear dump stat on the table. With average score probably a 4.
Okay, I could probably drop it a bit more then to get more points in something else that's more useful. I don't want to be totally caught out. I think that's I worry about like having it so low that I'm really crap at something. Like you know how like in Cyberpunk 2020, like you could generate a character whose strength was so low they wouldn't be able to lift themselves up out of a chair, kind of thing. You could really fuck it up that badly. I'll drop tech to 4 and stick a point in something else. I'm not sure what. I'm feeling like maybe. So I think a thing that I want to kind of have with the character is toughness, not just like strength, like that being like able to take hits as well as dish them out.
Yep.
Which is luckily both, body.
Yep.
So
Body and willpower to an extent as well.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna have to be willpower. So
no, it's both. But I mean, body in red is both strength and constitution in D&D, for instance. Like it's.
but this isn't D&D.
No,
Well-
but you could, if you think about what it means to be strong and burly, that's body here. Both like
Okay.
health, hit points.
I mean, I've maxed out body already, so well, as far as I can at character gen. So
And then having a higher will also give you more hit points, and it will let you resist some other things that you'll want to be able to resist as well.
yeah, I'm feeling like willpower like governs psychological resilience.
It also governs resistance to poisons and other drug effects, which are not as uncommon as I was initially expecting them to be after
How
reading
important-
through a lot of stuff.
Like, how important is luck? Like, how disastrous would it be for me to drop it to 4?
It's not disastrous. So, like I said, it's a way for you to selectively decide that a certain role is important and that you want to be sure about it.
Okay.
Yeah, luck is your out of game currency to boost rolls. Basically, that's about it. I guess it's not impossible for a GM to call for a random luck roll.
Yeah.
If somebody's throwing eggs at the group, who gets hit, or whatever, it's a randomness on occasion, but mostly it's just that currency used to manipulate rolls.
Sure. Yeah, I think I'm also like I'm a little hazy on the difference between reflexes and dexterity. They seem like I think to my mind like they govern a lot of the same stuff. But
Reflexes is
clearly,
more. Reflexes is ranged combat. Dexterity is close combat. Is the biggest split for a solo. Like that's the big difference there.
right. So I dropped my luck to get dex up to 8. Should I move that to reflexes? Do you think, or do you think
Your
dex?
call.
It sort of like which style do you want to be better at? Is
So like reflexes is handguns and stuff like that, isn't it? And dex is melee. Is that right?
Yeah.
yeah. I'll say one cool thing about having an 8 in reflexes is it allows you to attempt to dodge bullets that are shot at you as well as melee. So everyone can attempt to dodge melee, but having an 8 reflex gives you the unique ability to attempt to dodge bullets.
To dodge. Yeah. Right.
I'm very into that, so I think I'm going to stick with dex as my as the other thing I've put up. Right, so the new my new spread is 5 int, 7 ref, 8 dex, tech 4, cool 7, will 8, luck 4, move 6, body 8, and empathy 8. So I've slightly min-maxed a little tiny bit.
So how's your attributes looking, Robert, as a rocker boy? I think you're muted because I can't hear you. Something's not working.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear us.
Robert just bailed.
I think he's
See you later.
Can you hear me?
See you later, chumps.
yeah.
Yeah,
Discord was
I'm
really
out. Fuck this shit. No, I went 8 in cool,
Yeah.
a 7 in empathy, a 7 in will, and a 7 in tech, and 8 in reflexes, and 6 luck. My lowest stats are int, which is 4, and move and body, which are 5.
Okay.
Going down the line, I'm looking at 6, 8, 7, 6, 8, 7, 4, 5, 6, 8. So yeah, average-ish, luck, move, and body. But pretty good with his hands. Fairly unflappable. Good with people. Is where I'm currently sitting. Waffling over, maybe dropping something raising something else, but yeah, pretty above average on a few things for a fixer, which is nice. But we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I might adjust a few things, but that's what I got right now. So that's a basic.
Yeah. All right. So we have a few derived stats to calculate now. The first is our hit points, and they have a formula. I find this table is quicker to navigate.
It's fucking formula.
So Ash, what is your body?
8.
Okay. And then what is your willpower?
8.
Nice. So you have 50 hit points.
50, 50.
50, yes.
This fucking formula.
Yeah, I know.
Is it
What?
strong like bull, not weak like a chaffinch?
Okay. Near your hit points, you should have a box for something called seriously wounded wound threshold.
I've got a thing that says seriously wounded.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's
All right, so that is half of your hit points rounded up. So in this case, 25 for you.
Okay.
And there should be a death save,
Yeah.
and that is equal to your body. So in this case, 8 for you.
So what is a death save?
So when you get knocked down to 0 hit points or fewer, on your next turn, you get to roll a death save. If you roll under the death save, you continue to be alive. And on your next turn, you will have to roll another death save, this time with a +1 modifier, making it 1 point harder. Until you get stabilized by someone with the appropriate skill to stabilize you. At any point, if you fail this check, your character is dead.
The record, I want to point out that Erika said you get to roll a death save.
I was going to comment on that.
No, it's not really how that works. You don't get to.
Like,
You
good
get
news.
You get the pleasure of making, of the pleasure of allowing me to watch you attempt to stay alive, as you roll that. It's a pretty harsh system, one that I might occasionally blunt a tiny bit on occasion.
I'll try not to die, I guess.
That's our motto.
In the GM section, it has a big, huge section where it wants me to make very clear and upfront in bold, flashing neon signs to let you know that this is a very deadly game, and to come in with the idea that you might lose your character in a very quick manner. So,
Okay.
with that in mind, try not to get super duper attached. However, I also
Too late.
enjoy having longer campaigns as well. So there could be other avenues to character consequence besides death that we might investigate. So there might
And
be
how
other consequences.
bribable is our GM here? Our
Well, Baela might want a shiny new entourage for her in combat, so I could take bribes in other games.
just don't ask Rune to summon you a spirit, because that's not fucking happening. The way Shadowrun's been going.
Yeah. All kidding aside, I enjoy having longer games with characters myself, so I'm not going to kill off a character for the sake of killing off characters. So I also have
You hear
huge
that? We're
anxiety
invincible.
about
Do
characters
anything.
dying as well. So
May have to have the extra mechanic of failure death saves. You wake up in a bathtub full of ice.
right. So I'm willing to work in that regards as well. So we're gonna kind of like sideline that for a little bit and say there will be extraneous circumstances, and you'll be out of the fight, unrevivable.
No, that's totally fair.
All right.
Try not.
So with that said, the next derived stat, I think the last one, is our humanity score, and this is a simple 10 times your empathy, and that goes into the box that says humanity. They provide a handy table.
80% human.
Well, actually, right now you are 100% human, and when you
Oh, my
install
God.
cyberware,
A humanity of 80, rather.
Yeah.
I should say.
so you losing 7 humanity is less impactful than someone with a total of 40 humanity also losing 7.
I
What
might
was
play with that number before we get done.
Actually, negative humanity then.
No.
Okay.
If you get down there, that's cyber psychos.
Well, I mean, that's what I thought. It's just when Erika said like someone with 40 humanity losing 70.
Oh, sorry, 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, I see. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was me mishearing. Tatties in my ears.
Could also be Discord jumbling audio a bit. All right. The next step is skills. And so before we get too much in the weeds here, there's a lot of skills in this game.
I noticed it's absolutely packed with them.
There are a handful of them that are mandatory, as in you are going to be required to put points into them. And on the character sheet, they're bold. And that's how you're going to know.
I think the sheet just derived a bunch of them for me.
It might have.
Because I put the attributes in, the stats are already in there.
Yep. And so we'll be putting in the box that says level. That will be what we're doing now. Right, so if I put 5 there, so you can see that, it'll autofill in there. So the bolded skills are mandatory ones that you'll have to put points into. And then after that, you're free to put points wherever you want in the complete version. Now, there are templates that kind of make this a little bit easier if you want to look at those and say, oh, yes, these are the skills that are going to be important to my role. Let me scroll to this in the PDF.
I'm just going to...
Ash, if you want to look on page 86 of the book, is where you'll find a suggested template for the solo.
Cool, thank you. That's very helpful. So,
what are the total number of points we get?
Yeah, I was just going to say, how many points do we get and how much does stuff cost? Is it like a 1-for-1?
All right, so the answer to the first question is 86 skill points. You know what? Why don't we just round that up to 90? 90.
Cool. Thank you, Benevolent GM.
There's a few restrictions here. No skill can be higher than a 6, and the required skills that are bolded cannot be less than 2. So if it's bold, you have to at least put 2 points into it.
Okay.
A few of the skills have a ×2 next to them. That means it costs twice as many points to put a skill point into it. So normally it's a 1-to-1 basis. But the ones with the ×2 means each point actually costs you 2 skill points. So if you want to have like 4 points of auto fire, that really costs you 8 points right now.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over what's in the column for solo and then see if I want to move anything around, but within the rules that you've just...
Yeah, and the handy thing in the template is that all of the mandatory ones are sort of in the top of that list, and they're bolded as well.
Yeah, that's quite handy. Next. So, I take it with so many things that are at 2 in the skills, I'm taking it that 5 isn't human average for those.
Yeah, they're kind of, and isn't as much of an average for skills. Let me find something and I'll point you towards a page. How good you are at a skill is actually much more measured by what they call your base, which is your points plus attribute. Right? Because if somebody has a natural, body of 8, them having athletics 1, they can still probably throw better than somebody with body 2 and athletics 5. You know what I mean? The total is what matters, not just the skill ranks. So take a look on page 131. This is where they kind of repeat the descriptions of each skill and the costs and stuff, but then they also kind of give you the the lore of, oh, okay, having a 10 total at drive land vehicle is equal of a very good non-professional driver, right? Like, this is where they kind of give the descriptions. But yeah, we have the capability of being pretty good at the things we are supposed to be pretty good at.
So I'm counting a total of 13 mandatory skills in the sheet, which is 26 points. Is that what everybody else has?
Could be. We go.
Let me flip back.
And what's the highest this skill can be at character creation?
Six.
Six is the
Okay.
highest, and 2 is the lowest that those mandatory ones could be.
Which,
It doesn't
yes,
mean that
there
you
are-
should set them all at 2,
All right.
but
Yep.
they at least have to be 2.
Right.
Because there's so many, it is quite hard to navigate when I'm putting them in the column order because I'm having to move the sheet all over the place.
Right. Yeah.
That's- It's okay. It's not like terrible. It's just a little bit weird.
It's definitely involved. I will give you that.
Yeah.
You might see the skill called local expert. Your home. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean. It doesn't mean like literally like you're an expert of like the cargo container that you live in. It means like
Yeah.
your neighborhood. Who do you know? Are you familiar with the gangs in the area? Are you familiar with like the bars or the businesses? Can you
Yeah.
navigate around? You know, those sorts of things is what
Yeah.
that represents.
Mhm.
And where the long skill list then becomes a pain is that also some of that can be handled by Streetwise. So it's a matter of, which is more appropriate for a given role,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it turns into, some interesting stuff where you're like, am I actually covering my bases or am I wasting skill points?
Yeah.
It's
So
a fun game.
would a like heavy pistol be under handguns for weapon skills?
Yes.
Yes.
So handguns covers every single pistol, and it also covers every submachine gun.
Okay, nice.
But not shooting them on full auto, which is covered by the automatics skill.
By
Oh.
auto fire, I believe it's
Or
called.
auto fired, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have a submachine gun and you want to fire like one bullet at a time, that is the handgun skill. If you want to like hold down the trigger and fire a lot of bullets, that is the auto fire skill.
Yeah. Right. So, what's covered by tactics?
Tactics is think like military tactics. So it is knowing how to outmaneuver your enemy. It is knowing what tactics you might expect to see from a particular gang. In gameplay, probably how I'll do it is to be able to give you some knowledge of how best to approach a potential conflict with a gang, maybe providing even a +1 or a +2 modifier on the opening rounds of combat as you're able to find flanking locations better or set up some sort of a trap to lure them in based upon how you know they will react in a certain situation. So they're like, oh, this gang, I know that they like to charge right up the middle to get into melee. And so with that knowledge, you can kind of set up a strategy to to spread out more so that they can't just get up in all of your faces at once. And that might provide you a +1 or a +2 to your combat checks in the first round. where your strategy was superior because you knew it.
Okay.
Yeah, and Squandered, we're excited as well. We've been playing a lot of the Cyberpunk 2077 that came out, and we've all just been diving into that. And since Cyberpunk Red came out not too long ago, this seems like a perfect opportunity to jump into the RPG and enjoy the setting there.
Now, like, I was going to ask a question there. What was it? Yeah, everything seems to be kind of even numbers. Does it have to be like that? Can you have
It
something?
does not. It's sort of a funny
Okay.
coincidence of these templates choosing even numbers. There's
Yeah,
not
they
even
were-
really an advantage to it that I can think
Yeah.
of.
I think they were just keeping the math simple. Like it's easy to visualize skills to me as 2, 4, or 6. Right? Like am I just learning a thing? Am I pretty decent at a thing, or am I really good at a thing? Like
Yeah.
just for my own purposes, that's handy. Um,
Through gameplay, when we get experience, you can increase these up to 10 at their maximum rating.
Okay. So like I had 12 points left over, so I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. It was 10, and then I took some points out. So like I'm just kind of spending like the very very last few.
It's
on
fine.
getting little other stuff.
Some things to think about. Our group is a little bit smaller, and we don't have a med tech. If you remember back to our conversation about death saves, the way
Yeah.
to stabilize someone is with a first aid check.
Yeah, I've got that at 6.
Okay,
So.
that is good to have high.
It's
value.
it's one of my bolded ones, so
Yeah, everyone has to take at least a little bit of it, and
but
being
it
able
also
to,
makes sense for a solo to be, pretty trained in, combat medic stuff or whatever.
I imagine most of his experience is patching himself up, but can probably do it to other people.
paramedic is another skill that's sort of like in between first aid and surgery, which
Sure.
can help with recovery of things that is outside of like the immediate someone's about to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which skill is needed is I actually kind of like the crit table in the abstract without having played it yet. Different critical hits, it'll be things like, yeah, to recover from this damage to your arm, it's this difficulty first aid or this difficulty surgery or, whatever. Like, I kind of like that they offer both for a lot of the crits. Like, I think that's a cool,
Yeah.
potential.
Like, how important is it to be able to repair your own weapons?
How important is it to your character to not need to hire somebody to repair your weapons?
Probably,
Right?
probably reasonably important. So.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
And if you need, I know a guy.
Well, we should probably look at the difficulty of the checks, to be honest, so that you're aware of how hard this might be. It's not an easy thing. I'm trying to remember where that even is.
Oh, okay. What am I doing? It's a lot of points.
Well, I've managed to lose count. Gonna have to go and just check it all again.
Let me just search the PDF for repair.
All right, I'm good.
Wow.
I've got all the skills I probably will wish I didn't have when the game begins.
Okay. All right. Let's.
Shoulder arms.
That's
Is
I
your
like my arms and my shoulders.
yes. That's your rifles and shotguns.
Okay. Thank you.
So base is the level and stat added together, is the case.
Yes.
Where does it autofill that?
All right. So
I did take I did take some points in driving, so that's also a thing that maybe isn't super dire anymore.
I looked it up. The difficulty to repair a weapon is either going to be 17 or 21. So these
Okay.
are not easy checks.
I'm thinking then I should maybe just not take points in it then, because like there's no amount of point. I do not have the amount of points to put into it to make that check.
Well,
Like-
remember that's the total difficulty, which is skill plus attribute plus a D10. So it's not that your base needs to be 21 or whatever. It's
You,
and also
I'd be going in with like a base of 6. It's still very unlikely to be a success.
yeah, I would say if you can't get it up to like a 10 or a 12, you probably won't really be able to repair
Yeah,
simple weapons.
I think what I'm struggling with is like trying to balance like what I think reflects like the character's background and what reflects their current situation, and those are quite different things. So that's the difficulty I'm having right now.
Yeah, I say mostly try to go for what you're going to use now and with a little bit of flavor from before, and you can just sort of flavor it as this is what you needed to learn to get to where you are now, and so like you've been molded by your current situation into this.
Also, just making sure I don't drop anything that's too important. I feel like just tracking, is that like quite a general like finding where someone went kind of thing, or is it specifically like wilderness tracking?
Tracking says following a trail by observing tracks and other clues left behind.
Okay.
sounds like it's footprints and such, not.
Yeah. I'm feeling like I should at least have a point in it.
Which remember, there's a minimum of 2 on all of the mandatories.
Yeah.
It's not mandatory.
Well, right, I know, but I'm saying, but there isn't that limit on other skills.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm also curious about kind of what differs between endurance and resist torture / drugs. I mean, I know that like the second one is more specific.
Yes. So.
But does endurance cover essentially the same stuff?
Not quite.
Endurance. Yeah.
Endurance is going to cover environmental effect, conditions, and hardship. So this will be like if you're out in the desert and you haven't had water in a day, the endurance will help you to not have penalties from being dehydrated.
Yeah. Okay.
Endurance also helps you from getting rest in conditions that may not be very good for rest. On the other hand, the resist torture and drugs, there are a surprisingly large number of effects that you'll want to be able to resist. So
Sure.
many weapons can fire bullets that instead of like doing like bullet damage are instead like capsules that contain pepper spray or other nasty effects, and the resist torture drugs will allow you to resist those effects.
Yeah.
As well as like if you want to take recreational drugs to give enhancements during combat, you can take them, and if you don't want to be addicted, you'll want to be able to roll well on a resist torture drugs test.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I love that there's that not only there's like personal grooming and wardrobe and style, but that those are two separate things.
Yeah.
Absolute. It's all it's really doing is ensuring that some of my points get sapped into stuff that I may never roll. I'm just like I can't not be at least a little bit cool.
So the descriptions on these: personal grooming is the skill of knowing how to groom yourself to maximize your attractiveness.
Okay.
And what was the other one? That was wardrobe and
wardrobe
style. Is knowing what clothes to wear and when to wear them. So it's like dressing appropriately for the occasion. Meeting a corpo client, well, you're going to want to wear clothes that they're going to find tasteful and respectful.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like knowing that as well.
Yeah.
You could also potentially use it as a hey, this person that says they're a corpo, they have a suit, but like some of the other things they're wearing doesn't quite match up with what I'm expecting. So you might even be able to use it in that way.
Yeah, I guess like knowing what to expect from other people as well as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Right. I basically just need to quickly like count what I'm sitting at right now and just like basically what do I need to drop.
Yeah. And so I need to count where I'm at and then eviscerate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of went right. I'll stick a 1 on anything that I potentially want to put points into, and let's see if I can actually afford that or not. Yeah.
Like Corpo says that they're in management at Arasaka, but I know for sure that this was just bought off the rack at the local clothing vendor.
Pretty weird person to wear that Johnny Was Right t-shirt.
Can I quickly ask about the like? We kind of got a bit. There was a lot of stuff about language earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking it like. Were we treating street slang as basically like English with slang terms, or or for us all to be speaking English, do I also need to take English as well?
I put ranks in English. So I did.
So I took it to mean that the street slang is a language called street slang, and pretty much everyone speaks it. You can also take other languages if you want to be able to speak them. In fact, one from your background, you get free ranks in.
I should tell you 4.
Yeah, 4 free ranks in that.
Okay, right, that's fine. I'm just going to be like twice as good at Hebrew as I am at street slang because I'm not putting any more stuff into language.
That's fine.
Wow, 2 ranks versus 4 is not twice as good. It's slightly better.
Oh, right, okay.
Because your stats going to be as much, if not more than that, unless you really dropped it.
Well, I mean, both of my base stats are at 6 for that, so it's sharp, right? Just sharp. I did the math differently.
It's all right. We know what you meant. Twice as many skill points into it.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Like in general, it it's probably never gonna come up where
Yeah.
you'll need to roll straight slang.
Yeah. Okay,
Because that's what everyone speaks. Um, Potentially, there could be some times where your knowledge of Hebrew will come in useful when overhearing a conversation, or well, maybe less of an issue if you find an email or
yeah.
a letter or something written in Hebrew where you
Okay,
can read it.
I have not spent as much as I thought. I'm only at 82, so I've actually got 8 points to play around, so that's not the disaster. I thought I was going to be at like 120 or something. That's not too bad, actually. Like, I thought like I should probably have like at least a point in basic tech to not be completely inept, but I'm wondering if I should have more in that, or if I should leave it alone because it's like my tech stat is only 4 anyway, so I don't know. I don't want to be completely unable to leak. I think the idea of being completely inept with technology seems kind of like incongruous to the setting.
Yeah, I don't think it means that you're inept at it. Pretty much anything that's like day to day use, you have a competency in just in general. And this,
Okay, I guess like not like yeah, I guess the difference between being like your average computer user and being like an actual hacker or something.
right? Same thing with driving, right? Everyone can drive. You don't need
I mean,
the skill to actually get in a vehicle and
yeah.
steer.
There's no penalty for not having a skill for most of these. Like there might be some that you can't roll, like maybe I don't know, surgery or something. But for most of these, if you don't have a skill, it just means you roll a d10 and add it to your attribute. So you're not penalized further for a lack of training, at least not that I've found on my read-throughs of it. I have yet to find that,
Sure.
which is always kind of nice.
I think what I'll try and do is streamline a bit then and put like rather than trying to go really broad, maybe like try and focus up a bit more. Like I don't need to know how to pick locks because my guy probably breaks them rather than picks them. That kind of thing. Like much more likely to use just brute strength for a thing. I definitely think I should put more into persuasion and get a bit better at that. I would like to be at least somewhat charming. Right, but I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So how are you two doing in this?
I'm good. I keep tweaking a few things, but I'm basically set.
All right.
I have broad strokes. So yeah, I'm close.
All right.
Trying to also figure out. Yeah, like I said, some stuff it's just weird how some of the skills overlap, and it's easy to get hung up on that. At least for me, looking at what they describe as various skill ranks, like under language, like to know slang terms and stuff is actually pretty difficult. Like, and I'm like, but
These would have to be
most of what I learn is
uncommon.
slang terms, yeah. And it's just like, so you're saying that my guy with a very high intelligence, probably needs a 5 or a 6 in a language to be good at it, and then it's and then again, some of it is just the difference. Like, sorry, very loud car outside. Like, where does local expert cut off and streetwise begin?
So
And it's just some of that is always like, and also local expert is like not a large area, and if I'm gonna be the guy that knows a lot about Night City, like a fixer, like I feel like I should have more than one local expert.
Hey,
And
you know all about every one of the cargo containers.
So the way I was kind of thinking about it is that in your local area, if you have, I mean, you obviously have the local area knowledge, and if you have streetwise as well, you could roll either one. But probably the threshold would be lower for the local knowledge, and that way, you know, streetwise can do similar things, but it's also useful outside of your local area as well, even though the thresholds might be a little bit higher for that particular one.
Yeah, so a lot of it just comes down to situation, and it's tough to predict that.
Yeah.
Erika, how much longer do you want to go today? I only ask because I'm getting very sleepy.
Okay, we can. We're at the normal end time for the Sea of Spears, so we can kind of call it here. There are still some more things to do. Obviously, we haven't gotten to the gear, we haven't gotten to cyberware, we haven't gotten to a few things. But that's okay. We can still talk about this in Discord, the rest of the steps. So I'm definitely free if people want to like be on a call.
I'm free.
I need to take me a little nap, and then I am good to finish the rest of this character.
Okay. All right. So let me just let's end the stream, and then we'll do a quick wrap up amongst ourselves and come up with some plans. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So everyone, thank you so much for coming out today. I know it wasn't the Sea of Spears like we had planned to do. We did get some really cool things in the beginning of the stream with the birthday video that Rusty and Felicia arranged for me for my character Baela for our Game of Thrones game. Thank you everyone who hung out with us during character creation, and our new viewer who hung out with us. Squandered resources. Congrats on your HRT and everything going on for you. Super happy about that. Right now we don't have plans to stream this. I'm a little bit we'll see. Right now we don't have plans to stream it, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can come up with something to stream something. I don't know. No promises, but I hope everyone has a great night. And
if they want to harass you about that, the Discord channel is available.
Yeah, you can join our Discord down below. We talk about this game, cyberpunk stuff, other video games, and other role-playing games as well.
Yeah, and turning it into streaming is also the difference between playing and working, kinda. So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, not like for our new person, normally every other Sunday we're doing a Sea of Spears, which are Song of Ice and Fire setting role-playing game. So, but we had a crucial player not feeling well, so that's why we were doing this instead.
Yeah. Also, if you're interested, this is Rusty's channel, and 3 days a week he streams other video games. Just finished up the Shadowrun Hong Kong video game.
Yeah, so we're going to be taking over BattleTech, working our way through the harebrained library, because we played Shadowrun Dragonfall, we played Shadowrun Hong Kong. So yeah, now Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Central Standard Time, Central Time here in America, we will be playing some BattleTech for a while.
All right, I think that's it. Unless anyone has anything else. Real quick.
Nope.
All right.
No.
So thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Take care.
Bye, Rick.